we're live. All right, guys, we are live. I'm going to put a timer on the screen. Polls close on the East Coast at 6 p.m. our time, 7 p.m. Eastern. So I'm going to just grab a timer and get that on the screen. When is it? 12 minutes, you think, from now?
Yeah,
It's about 11 minutes now. All right,
11, yeah.
we'll put it there. And then I'll change the color so y'all can see it. And we'll make it a little bigger. All right, there's a timer. So polls close on the East Coast for election night. Welcome everybody. Actually, I'm just getting right into it. I haven't even welcomed everybody to the to the stream. This is the Blueprint Live. This is our Decision 2026 August election. Remember, we're not using primary anymore. We're calling it the August election. And today is election day. So if you had local races in for city council or for mayoral or for county commissioner, school board, some parts of the state have primaries for Congress and for your state House representative, for your state Senate. So those races are all going to be decided tonight. We also have our governor's race, both on the Democratic and Republican sides, that will be decided tonight, in addition to our U.S. Senate race, which we only care about the Democrats running, at least here. Whatever they're doing on the other side is their business. So we have Alexander Vindman as well as Angie Nixon, who are running head-to-head in that primary. We are waiting for Sunshine. She's going to be coming momentarily. But as one of our guest co-hosts, for as long as he can be here, we're going to have Johnny Austin Thompson, who you can see in the bottom of the screen. And he is running in House District 2. There was no Democratic primary in House District 2, so he will automatically advance to the general election, which will be in November. Obviously, you all know Gabe Alamont. She is also going to be advancing to the November election, 2026. She's also a lovely co-host of the Blueprint Live. Derek just bounced. Derek was like, deuces, I'm out.
See you later. I have other things to do.
And maybe his camera's acting up, but so we'll see what's going on with him. For those, let's see, pointing here. This is my monitor where I'll be watching live footage. Let's see if I can move it so that way you guys, it's not blocking me.
I'm following it.
Oh, I can't move it. Yeah, I can't move it. Oh, there we go.
BJ, we should talk about what the Florida Republican Party sent out last night to everybody in Pensacola.
Do tell me what happened. Talk about it.
So last night, the Florida GOP sent out a text to everybody that lives within Pensacola city limits to point out, for a nonpartisan race, all of the Democrats, and there's a Democratic Socialist, and no, there's not an MPA. So 3 Democrats, and they sent this text out, know who you're voting for or know something, and sent this text out. That shows you how scared the Republican Party is for Pensacola mayor.
And obviously, we know that fear is coming from the fact, that fear was started on your special election, where Escambia County flipped blue for the first time in nearly a generation, thanks to the work that your campaign, as well as Derek, who's the leader of the Santa Rosa County Democratic Party, but who is here in Escambia County, sorry. Oh, wait, that's me, right?
It is you.
But we are not here in that capacity. We are here as analysts of everything that is going on in and around the Panhandle politically. We're not here in our official title roles. So Derek, talk more about this. Number one, the Republican Party getting involved in this nonpartisan race. Number two, the ways in which they are getting involved, and the reason that we all can basically assume that they scared.
Right. So, as Gabe mentioned, and sorry I had to step away for just a moment. As Gabe mentioned, the Republican Party of Florida, not even the Escambia County GOP, but the Republican Party of Florida, sent texts to all of the voters within the city limits of Pensacola, right? Telling them, or particularly the Republican voters, telling them to not vote for the Democrats. They identified them. They spent some money because they had a graphic and everything. Sending text with graphics costs money, right? But
It
they sent
does.
out to all of those folks. The population of Escambia of the city of Pensacola, approximately 42% of the registered voters are Republican. So when you're talking about a number around 46,000 voters that make up the city populace of the city of Pensacola, that's a lot of folks, right? To tell them to vote, essentially vote for the current mayor, who is D.C. Reeves. They even hung their other Republican candidate out to dry. They said, "Nah, we don't want you either." I don't know if it has anything to do with him being black. I don't know what it is. I got my guesses, but they said we don't want your ass either. So go vote for DC Reeves. Right now, it's funny because to your point, the Republican Party of Florida has interjected themselves into the little old mayor's race of the city of Pensacola. This is not the first instance that they've done so. They've sent now 3 mailers to all registered voters in the city of Pensacola with the graphic telling them the one's a socialist, there are 3 Democrats, and they just left the other guy out to pasture. Right? They didn't even acknowledge him on the thing. So they're like, vote for DC Reeves. So to the point, again, the Pensacola mayoral race, along with the other municipal races, are nonpartisan. So the
Mm-hmm.
fact that the Republican Party of Florida is interjecting themselves into lets them know that they're scared. They've been scared for a while. Certainly it goes without saying this is going to be an interesting race based on turnout. I don't expect that there'll be a declared winner in that race tonight. I assume that there will be a runoff, but who that will be is still up in the air. We got about an hour and 5 minutes left to the polls close here in Pensacola. So if you have not gone to go vote, please go vote and make sure you vote. I ain't got to sign up. Sorry. Make sure you vote for Jermaine Williams. That's who you need to be voting for. Anybody else is unacceptable. But that's just me.
And Johnny, we're going to bring you into the conversation, and I'll put up the candidates that are running for mayor as you're talking. So tell me, what particularly parts of this race have you found interesting?
Yeah, I think what you guys were talking about to piggyback off that the fact that they are pushing the DC Reeves message is pretty interesting. But personally, what I found like the most captivating are the candidates that I've spent the most time with. Right, I haven't gotten a lot of FaceTime with Jasmine Brown or Ann Hill or Eric Shorter. I've seen them all at different events. The most of my time I've spent is with Alicia and Jermaine, and so I've been going to a lot of their events, seeing them speak, and this is the first time in a while that I felt like there is a potential for an upset in Pensacola for mayor. And I'm really interested tonight to see the numbers going in, not just for mayor, but just kind of the broader picture of the primary. You guys were saying Republicans are scared. I think that's absolutely right. And, I've got my eye on the turnout numbers. I've mentioned before that in House District 2 right now, there's more requested Democrat mail-in ballots than Republican. And that's something that's pretty rare. It's very huge in our district. And so I'm interested to see what the numbers say about that and what we can expect going forward to November.
Nice. And so what I was thinking of, what I found interesting about those text messages and those mailers was that they didn't use their money and the opportunity to prop up the candidate that they actually support,
Right.
that they actually want to win. They could have spent, and we know how much these text messages, these texts cost because we've all been involved in this work. We know that it's not cheap. We know that. Can you imagine if someone had injected, $30,000 into a communications campaign to prop up what you stand for, to prop up what you've done for the city of Pensacola, to prop up all the successes, all the wins, all the gains. But instead, they decided, let's just depend on people not having the knowledge and seeing the letter D and just saying, oh, that's not for me. So they're banking, they're genuinely banking on voters just seeing the D and realizing that that's not what's going to be in their best interest. We need to figure out if that's going to work. Is the letter D so toxic in this area that people could care less who the candidate is. They will just vote for someone as long as they don't have a D behind their name. I think that's what the party's banking on. They're certainly banking on that strategy with the amount of money that we sort of know that they put behind it. And well, I guess we'll figure out because when do they file they'll have to file their financials, right? This just went out, so we're not going to actually know how much money was spent until they have to file their FEC report. Well, not FEC. What will it be? Because it's not federal. It'll be a state. Yeah, it'll be a state
report.
Yeah, it'll be a state report. So we'll eventually know what this communications campaign cost them in terms of the mayoral race. But I think also what we got to consider is if the Republican Party of Florida is willing to throw tens of thousands of dollars into a mayoral race in Pensacola, what are the Democrats doing? They're investing in a race to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars where they have a voter registration advantage that is not small. And they're still investing in the win. We have a stiff hill to climb, and we hear chirps, and not the chirps of birds, the chirps of crickets.
Welcome
yeah, that's
to
very
what
true.
candidate.
Oh, go ahead, Gay.
Yeah, welcome to what a Democratic candidate on the Panhandle feels like. Our local Democrats are fantastic. Our volunteers are fantastic. Our chairs are awesome. Woo woo. But nobody's coming down up here to save us. Again. And what I find weird about that, whatever they spent, it was not spent on direct voter contact in the sense that they could have paid people to knock on doors and had FaceTime with Republicans to talk about the things that DC Reeves has done for the city or lack thereof, whatever. But they also left out the other Republican candidate that's on the ballot, Eric Shorter, who is from here, who has a deep history here, and he's a veteran, and they left him off of the ballot. I mean, off of the text message that they sent out. Yeah.
But again, I think that is intentional, and I'm going to draw a parallel. I hate to skip over or to move focus off the mayoral race, but I think that is again intentional because I think Eric Shorter is receiving the same treatment that his Republican ballot mate Trey McMullen is receiving, who is potentially vying to compete to run against Johnny on House District 2. I mean, that race has been you have a sitting member of the Florida House of Representatives, Michelle Salzman, who told that man, you'll be in a couple of days, you'll be as irrelevant as the COVID vaccine. I mean, they're like viciously attacking that dude. Now, again, I don't feel too bad for you because you're doing all that tap dancing and they don't want you. But, again, it still sucks. Like you had somebody in Escambia County had to resign their job because they tried to cover up that man's signs, right? Like the stupidity, but it just kind of speaks to and let me rephrase, one person had to resign their job, and their spouse, who also works for the sheriff's department, is under investigation by the Florida Division of Law Enforcement, the FDLE. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to tell you they don't want you. You are not welcome. But yet again, you still got people trying to break in and be like, "No, I's here. Look at me." And they're like,
It's
nope.
nasty over there. It is nasty. Watching all this stuff unfold on Facebook and watching our elected officials act like 12-year-olds at a sleepover is embarrassing. And let me tell you, if anybody's listening, and I don't know who's listening, but if anybody's listening, look what the Republican Party brings you. Look at what's going on in your local politics, and ask yourself, is this how government should be run, or should it be run
Mm-hmm.
by adults? That it looks bad on their part, which just let them keep burying themselves. But people need to notice. People need to stand up and notice what their elected officials are acting like. It's embarrassing.
So we're
You
going
know,
to
I'd
go
love to add
to,
to that if I could, real
sure, go
quick.
ahead, and then we'll
It's
get to, because the
on
polls
top of
have
like,
closed on the East Coast, and so we're going to go to some results as they come in. But go ahead, finish
ooh,
your thought, Johnny.
yeah, I was just gonna say on top of notice how they're acting. We talked about the message that was sent out for DC Reeves. This is like a page straight from the Republican playbook that is happening all the time in the Panhandle, right? They spend money, they just drop a ton of funding without actually sending people in. Gay, you were talking about how they could have had people go knock door to door, face to face, and spent that money, lifting up DC. But that's not what they did, because that's not how they go about politics here, right? They've gotten
Mm-hmm.
comfortable dropping loads of money to send out mass communication, right? We know on the grand scale, when we look at the federal government, billionaires buy elections. Well, the scary thing is that doesn't just happen at the federal level, that happens at the state and local level too, right? These massive corporations are no different from Elon Musk playing politician with Trump, when they can just hand tons of money to these politicians and they're now comfortable going to the Panhandle. I mean, look at Jimmy Petronis coming over from a different district to run here just because he has the back end funding, right? And that's the same thing that's happening at each level, whether it's local or not, right? So, beyond just looking how they're acting online, you need to look at what's behind them and how they got their visibility, right? How did you learn their name is the most important thing, and people need to dig into that.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah,
Give
so
us some results, BJ.
sure, let's go. We're going to Congress, and obviously District 1 is there, Gay Valamont, who is uncontested. So she will automatically advance to the November elections of 2026. Yay, go Gay. That should say 100%.
Yeah. 100.
100. And then District 2, which is our neighbors, which starts at half of Walton County and then proceeds east towards Tallahassee. That is, now I don't see, why do I don't have these people's whole names? Oh, there they go. I just don't have it big enough. All right. So Yin Bailey, we've got Barnes, Green, and Zateslo. I'm not sure who that is. I'm familiar with the social media platforms of the top three. Never heard of that last one. But I think they are still technically in Central Time Zone. Is that correct? So District 2.
No, they're in. No.
Part of District 2 is in Central, the other half, the majority is in Eastern.
Ah, okay. All right. So maybe that's
So
why
they're
we haven't
red.
seen any results yet. We're looking at some races. Do you guys remember Alan Grayson? He's back. He's running in District 7. Looks like Darren Soto ran uncontested. Maxwell Frost ran uncontested. Jennifer Jenkins ran uncontested. Kathy Castor ran in Tampa uncontested. Where is the race that
But
Chev is in?
Kathy Castor still is in on the ballot in November because there's still
Yeah.
a Republican challenger. Maxwell Frost, he automatically got reelected
Okay.
without opposition. I don't know
Okay.
about Darren Soto though.
Okay. Looks like Phil Ayer ran uncontested, so he will advance in November. I'm not sure who Lachlan is. I'm not familiar with that race. Looks okay. So Chevron Jones is race 20, District 24. We have nothing in yet. What's another race that people are looking at? Oh, District 20. That's the one that everybody's watching.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
the DWS carpetbagging into a district that was particularly carved out as a black access district, and now with redistricting for the purposes of diminishing black power, District 20 was created, and that meant that Debbie Wasserman Schultz's district was not going to be as easy to win as she had initially planned. And so what did she do? She hopped into another district that she doesn't live in, which as Democrats, I would say is not something we look fondly upon, but here
It's
we
not.
are. But yet here we are. Okay, let's get
That's
back.
such a nice way of saying it.
Right?
So
It's a
anyway,
black access seat. And to be clear, it's one of two black access seats remaining in the state of Florida after redistricting.
what's the
I'm going to
second one?
repeat that again. The seat that was occupied by Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, that
Oh,
now
okay.
Chevron Jones
Hmm.
and the lot are competing against. Those are the two technically black access seats remaining in the state of Florida. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz is trying to vie for one of the two. Just in case folks are unclear, Debbie Wasserman Schultz look like Gay and Johnny. She don't look like me and you. So you know,
I mean, I don't know how much she looks like me, Derek.
well, yeah, I'll give you that. She may not look like
All right, so I'm gonna need you all to be my little eyes and ears. If you're getting returns that look that I should be popping up on the screen, let me know. Oh wait, what's wrong with this? Okay, looks like Jimmy Petronas. Nothing is back, but our polls are not closed. Are there any other races on the Republican side that we should be watching? Let's go to governor. Let's see if anything's back on their gubernatorial race. Oh, okay, look.
Ooh.
We've got David Jolly on the Democratic side, who is in a primary with Dana Foster and Dottie Joseph. And as you can see, David Jolly is currently carrying 69.5, roughly almost 70% of the vote of people who have turned out. We just got an update. Now it's at 70% exactly. And so we're going to continue to watch that race.
And the next closest person is Dana Marie Foster at 10%.
At 10.4%. That is correct. And then we've got Dottie Joseph, who sort of jumped in the race, I think, at the day of the deadline.
She did.
She jumped in this particular race. There, let me see. It says show all candidates. I'm not sure who these people are. I didn't look at their platforms, but I mean,
yeah, show all on the Republican side too.
And wait,
Byron.
I'm so glad that Fishback is not on. I was scared Fishback would be in the lead, and that dude's a weirdo.
Man, it's not even close.
So, let's talk about this race. Are you guys all on screen? Because I can't see. I'm actually looking at them.
We are.
Actually, let me go to my laptop. That way I can pull it up there, and that way I can see you guys. Let's talk about the gubernatorial race, because I'm concerned. Here's what I'm concerned about, and y'all can tell me if I should be concerned or not. Byron Donalds, if you know, on the Republican side, did not show up to any of their candidate forums. And we have some experience with that, don't we, Gay? Of candidates not showing up to forums. Johnny, you had a similar experience of a candidate not showing up to a forum, who just thinks that the seat is his. And this gentleman, Byron Donalds, who currently is in Congress, he got the endorsement of the Orange Mango in the White House and just figured that was all he needed. And it looks like from the returns, that is pretty much all he needed. He has not engaged in any dialogue with the people he's running against. He's just got the endorsement, similar to Jimmy Petronas. Jimmy Petronas did the exact same thing.
Same thing. Same playbook.
Well, you mentioned that I had somebody not show up. Well, the person that didn't show up got an endorsement from Jimmy Petronas, so it looks how it trickles down.
Right?
Right.
It's like the more they feel like the more they show up, it's bad for them. So like it's a deterrent for voters if they do show up. So they don't show up. They just throw money at it, put a bunch of signs out, some social media stuff, and that's it. And so that's how they have always run on the Panhandle. But we're going to change that this time around. We're going to change that. If they're going to try to beat us, they're going to have to work at it. You're going to have to work this time.
Right.
Because I'm going to outwork Jimmy Petronas.
What were you saying, Derek?
No, I was going to say, I think what's interesting to know is that large, I don't know if you can go back to it, but that large, that 27% and the I don't know if that's 8.2 or 9.2.
We're at
Uh,
8.2 for
Eight
Paul
point.
Renner.
yeah, and then the 7.2. That number adds up, and so what's interesting to I will be curious to see uh, who ends up coming, closest. Because what I am hoping is that all those Jay Collins, Paul Renners, and Jane Fishback, and I guess now technically Bobby Williams folks opt to not um, pull the lever for Byron Donalds when it's time, and which means not to say that they'll stay home, but they'll skip that
Mm-hmm.
that box on the ballot, right? Because they just cannot, for whatever reason, uh, pull the lever
Come
for
on, you
Byron
know
Donalds.
why?
I,
Yeah.
I I just showed you I did like that. I was like,
I mean, we can say it. We can say it out loud.
well,
Republicans
they
aren't going
can't
to
pull the lever,
rush to the
right?
polls to vote for a black man, and
Right.
that's a shame. But he is a horrible person. I
I
don't care
saw,
what his skin is.
yeah, I saw the folks in Santa Rosa County, like Republicans, they put out a thing where they were pushing Fishback as the person to vote for, and that's in Santa Rosa County. And so I was like, see, this feeds into my thing that people on I-10 along the I-10 corridor are going to have a problem voting for Byron Donalds when it comes time. To the point that they promoted another candidate. So, what do the returns on the Senate race look like?
Let's
Oh yeah,
see.
Senate.
Let's go to Senate, guys. Here we are. Can you guys see it?
Oh wow.
What? What? You're scaring me. What?
Oh Lord!
What?
Woo.
I can't see.
Oh,
What?
And
oh,
Angie Nixon's up and it's close.
oh.
It's
Yeah.
really close.
Please, Lord, come on, Jesus, come on,
It just
Lord.
ticked up even more. It was just at like 50,
Come on
49,
Yeah.
51.
Please, Lord, y'all. If you are in
Oh my
the
God.
Central Time Zone,
That'd be
it is
so
not
awesome.
too late. Go take your ass to the polls and vote Angie Nixon. See you right
Do we
there.
have any idea at what order the districts are getting counted at? Like, do we know if South Florida is getting counted before North Florida?
Well, it's funny because I would expect. Well, number one, I think South Florida is going to be easy to count because their voter turnout
Oh.
sucks, right?
Yeah.
So when we look at it, like, well, I mean, I'm not being funny. It's not funny. It's actually sad. Like when we talk about the two largest counties in South Florida, Broward County, right now at the close of their polls, you're talking about 16.2% voter turnout. Similarly, in Miami-Dade County, you're looking at 18.9, almost 19% of voters. So it's not like they have a lot of votes to count,
Right.
which is ungodly sad. But this is where we are, right?
Oh yeah,
It's crazy.
this is an interesting dynamic
Yeah.
that we're experiencing. But this is probably early vote and vote by mail, right? Because the election day voting is what takes longer to write. So this is probably early and early voting and vote by mail that has been released.
Yeah.
Let's look
Let
at.
43% of the
CFO,
Do
votes
you want to look at
in.
anything
Yeah.
in
In
CFO.
CFO?
Yeah, CFO.
MS Now is not reporting
An
CFO.
agriculture commissioner.
Where?
If
I'll,
agriculture
okay, y'all,
commissioner.
you guys talk amongst yourself, and then I will find those results. I'm trying to play producer and and co-host and showrunner. So
You're
you
doing
guys talk
you're
amongst
doing all the
yourselves,
things. Yeah.
and then I'll find it. All right.
Derek,
one
did
thing
you
I'll
have a
say, oh,
preference?
go ahead.
Uh, Go ahead.
Go ahead, Johnny.
I was gonna say one thing that we're not talking about an awful lot that we'll need to pay attention to as the night rolls longer is the total vote count. Right now we're looking at like who's pulling ahead, Vindman or Nixon, but it's going to be very important for all the Democrat races. Is the Democrat turnout and is the Republican turnout? How does that look compared to previous years? And that's something we don't really know yet.
Right. I am and have been a nervous Nelly all day long.
Yeah.
I woke
So
up
am
this
I.
morning nervous because I want to know what the turnout's going to be. I want to know what Republican enthusiasm looks like. I want to know, I want to know the breakdown of my race, but I want to see what it's going to look like. We've talked and talked and talked about how Democrats are enthusiastic about going to the polls. Is that for real? Or is it just those of us that are in politics that are like, yeah, sure, the Democrats are enthusiastic to vote. I hope that we are I hope that we're right, and I hope that people don't get complacent. And we got a big job to do between now and November. Ooh, makes me nervous. Let me
Don't
dig
be
into these
nervous.
numbers.
Okay, so yeah, I'm on the Associated Press's website right now. They don't have CFO, or they only have the big races, unfortunately.
Election
I'm
day
trying
turnout.
to find PBS. Maybe PBS will have it. What we're running into for the people at home is YouTube doesn't really allow us to stream big outlets like your CNNs and your MSNBCs and those types of things. So we kind of have to go to websites and outlets that are publicly available. Otherwise, YouTube will flag it for copyright infringement. So that's what I'm trying to find, something that we can show you that's either like the Associated Press or PBS. But I'm not even seeing anything on those websites. They just basically have the major districts. I mean, the major races. So I'll keep looking. In the meantime, and then if you all find something on the panel, you all let me know, and then I will cut to it if I can. Looks like electionsflorida.org, maybe? What do you think? Is that?
Yeah, so I was on. I tried to pull the thing to see it, but it's only. I did this stupidly. I don't know why I asked it to do what I asked it to do. But I wanted to get the congressional races down in South Florida, but I think if you do Florida Election Watch, um, that
Florida
might be
election.
electionwatch.gov. It might be a better indicator, so you
Hey
can
guys,
see what.
I have to run, but thank you guys for having me on. I'll talk to you guys soon as the night updates.
All right, man. Take care.
See you
Thanks, Johnny.
later.
Bye, Johnny. All right, let's add you, Derek. Okay. So
And just FYI, Jamil's here, so he'll probably be joining
where
us
is he?
shortly. No, like here with here.
Oh, in the office with
Oh,
you?
here at your office.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Okay, so I'm on Florida Election Watch. We can go to that screen, and I'll try and zoom in a little bit, and you can let me know if you all see it. They're not reporting anything right now. I wonder why. They should be reporting something on the East Coast,
Yeah,
right?
they should. Like 5, 10, 15 something. Yeah.
So, and for that race, for those of you who are not familiar, we actually had Earl Ford on the program maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago. Earl Ford and Annette Taddeo are in a heated primary for the Florida CFO race. And most people don't even know what the Florida CFO does. And so during that time, we talked about how the budget is sort of wrapped up in the roles of the CFO, property insurance, which is a major issue to the affordability and housing crisis in the state of Florida, and is really a barrier to many people getting into becoming first-time homeowners. And even if they are homeowners, it's a barrier to them keeping their homes. And so the Florida CFO race is something that we're definitely watching this particular go around. Annette Taddeo is a candidate who has run for governor in the past. She's also been an elected state senator. She's run for, what other race did she run for? I think she ran for Congress at one point in time. Earl Ford is a first-time candidate. He is a former accountant for the IRS. He is a lawyer as well. He says that he has dealt with a high dollar crime. Right? Is that how he puts it? He's managed. Oh, Lord, Gaten bounced. He says that what did he say, like one of the cheapest the smallest cases he ever dealt with was like 7 or 8 figures, And so he says he purports himself as being able to handle a budget as large as the state of Florida. Believe it or not, Florida's GDP is the seventh highest in the world. In the world. We always talk about how California has a high GDP, and it certainly does. California has a higher GDP than most nations, than the entire continent of Australia. Believe it or not, Florida's GDP is on par with entire continents. And so it's a big responsibility that the CFO, which is a cabinet position, will hold. And it's important for the person who is in that position to have his ear or her ear to the ground of the people. And what we have seen is that that is not the case. That fool that has that office right now is about as corrupt, and the fool before him who had that position, we all know is corrupt. This man literally
He
thinks
just filled his pockets up with cash. He went in there and
exactly.
filled his pockets up.
He was literally funded by the industry that creates the highest barrier for people to enter into home ownership. And he had them in his pocket.
So I just wanted to go back to Annette Tadeo real fast and talk about you talked about. I think she's run for. So everybody, if you don't know who Annette Tadeo is, let me give you a brief synopsis of her campaign and her candidacies. Starts back in 2008, where she ran for Florida House District, uh, U.S. Congressional District 18 in the general election, and she lost that race. In 2010, she ran for Miami-Dade County Commission, and which is a nonpartisan race, and she lost that, finishing third in the primary. In 2014, she was the lieutenant governor candidate with Charlie Crist. Uh, and of course, we know that turned out as a loss, where uh, Charlie Crist received about 47% of the vote. In 2016, she ran for Florida Congressional District 26 in the primary there, and she lost the Democratic nomination in the primary there. Then in 2017, she ran for Florida Senate District 40 in a special election, and she gets her first win. So she won that race. And then in 2018, she sought re-election to that Florida Senate District 40 and won there again in that race. Then in 2022, she decided to run for the governor of Florida, but she withdrew from the primary and switched to Congressional District 27 in that race, Florida Congressional District 27. And she won the Democratic nomination in that primary, but she lost to uh, Maria Salazar. And then in 2024, she ran for Miami-Dade Clerk of Court and Comptroller's Office in the general election. And she surprisingly lost. And then now she is running in 2026 for the CFO's race. So as you see, she has a history of running for a lot of races.
Did you memorize all that?
No, I read it. I read it.
Oh, I'm like, I was thinking, damn,
Like,
you
you're
got.
a Net Tadeo expert.
I was
No.
like, damn, you gotta be something for somebody to memorize your losing record.
No, well, right. I said she was a nine-time loser before. I was not. I think people thought I was being excessive in that comment, but I think there's something said for people who just run for every office, any office, all the time, versus people who have a heart to serve for the people. Right? You see, Gay. Gay has now run on her third race for the same office in Congressional District 1. She hasn't switched from congressional district to county commission to city council to this, that, and the third. It's like it seems like you're just office hopping, right? And it seems a bit strange. I would question somebody like that. And then you question whether or not someone is qualified for the role, because if you didn't held all those jobs, or you didn't ran for all those jobs, but I don't know what your qualification is to be CFO. For me,
And it is not
it,
fun.
right, to be a CFO, I remember I went through the Johnson and Johnson Financial Leadership Development Program when I was employed with them, and that was my track to be CFO. But I also have a finance degree, and I have an MBA. So
That makes you
I'm qualified to
qualified.
do something in that track. I don't, just because you didn't have a public office don't mean I want you over my money or dealing with money. Those two things don't equate, right? So you know, if she can run for CFO, I guess I'll hope to get the nomination for a Surgeon General for the state of Florida. 'Cause anybody can be that, right?
Hello, sir.
And joining us, we have Jamil. Jamil Davis, how's it going? Jamil Davis is I'm not sure what your capacity is today, so I don't want to give you all your titles. So hopefully you can just let us know what capacity you're here in.
Check, check, check. So salutations to all. I'm Jamil Davis. I am the North Florida League Regional Organizer for Black Voters Matter. Yes, you know, we deal in nonpartisan spaces, but we like all of you. That's on the call this evening.
Fantastic.
I also am the lead host and co-executive producer of BLKFLA, the podcast, which is the Black political voice for the state of Florida.
Well, tell us what you think about Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
And I'll go to her race while we're talking about it.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for that.
All we got is time. Let's see. We said she was District 20, yeah.
20.
District 20.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, no. Wait a second.
See,
I see a check.
See,
Does the check mean that it's been called? I see a check by her name.
Yes, it is. That's what the check means.
Oh no, you better not. Go ahead.
So-
Talk while I do this.
So this is what we meant when we said there's going to be at least 4 to 5 Black candidates running in this race, and no one candidates or people that live in District 20 could make up their minds as to who they wanted to fully represent them. So everything splits. And what's left
Yep.
over, Debbie got.
Mm.
So that's where we're at now, where we only have, which is still too early to call, but it's looking like State Senator Chevron Jones may start to pull out. It's very
Chevron
close
Okay.
in District 24.
So we're gonna listen. I'm trying all of these things, and this is our first time doing live coverage. And hopefully, y'all see something on the screen that says that a race has been called, and it is Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Y'all has won that primary in District 20, and we were just talking about what that meant and how in the Black Access District that she decided to hop in because it was an easier race to win if she could get through her primary. And so y'all tell me y'all thoughts on that. What is this going to mean for when we know that a Democrat has taken it upon herself to eliminate a Black Access District? Who wants to go first? CNN is just calling it too. CNN just called
first and foremost, let me say this, and I'm not even saying this just because she's on the broadcast with us this evening. This don't even look like some stuff that Gay would do. Like, so let's put that out there first and foremost.
No.
The second thing is, I have always said that there's a difference between somebody coming into a district and running in a district to add value to the district versus running in the district to take value away from the district and to take away from the district.
Yep.
The issue with Debbie Wasserman Schultz essentially becoming the congressional elect for District 20, because they're not going to put the Republicans are not going to put anybody in this district. So essentially, Debbie going to Washington
This is it.
again.
Yeah.
Is that throughout the entire campaign, if you looked on Debbie's Facebook page, Debbie's websites, Debbie's social media, she essentially used Black individuals within Congressional District 20 as props the entire time. Like even today, looking at her social media page, I don't know, for every 10 pictures that she had on her Facebook page, 7 of them were with Black constituents in Congressional District 20, even if those people even lived in the district at all.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe.
But again, before, and I'm sorry, Gay. Again, we said, organizers, those within the party, we said, sit down and have a serious, concise meeting now that Debbie is in y'all district of who's going to be the single Black candidate that's going to go up against Debbie. Because I can guarantee you, once BJ comes back on, if we can go back to those numbers, if Dale, Elijah
Manley,
Elijah, and Luke's numbers were put together, or literally all 3 of those numbers are put together, including the last person that's not showing up on there, this wouldn't even be a conversation right now. If all of those were just one person.
Yeah.
So you're saying the combined 21 plus, what is that? 21 plus 12 is what? 33 plus 8 is 41 plus 7 is 48.
And if you only have one Black candidate, some of that 50.5 that's with Debbie would have went to whoever the one candidate is. I guarantee you that, because people in Congressional District 20 want somebody that they feel are going to represent them and bring resources back to the district, but knows the district. And since it's essentially 4 other people who knows the district that's running, the next thing that people are thinking about in CD20 is, well, who's going to bring us back resources to our district? And the person that they know that can bring them back resources, unfortunately, is Debbie.
But where's she going to bring the resources to?
See, now that's the $1 million question, BJ.
I really like Elijah Manley. He's a fantastic person. Does the right stuff. It's a shame. Let's see what the Republicans are doing.
On which side? Derek,
Hold
did you
on.
want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I guess before I'm still curious how in like District 22 they
22
called the race for Pia. Yeah, with only 40% of the vote in. That's a little strange, but I guess the gap is so overwhelming.
Yeah, probably. They probably think that there's not enough vote out there to overcome the difference.
Overcome the difference.
Can we look at 25?
25.
Ooh.
Oh.
What?
Oh, there's there's 44% in. But
what about LJ Holloway? Which district is she in?
That's CD4.
9, I think.
CD LJ. Oh,
LJ wins.
Yeah, LJ is predicted to win win that seat. Then there is she's not running for Congress. Sorry.
That's fantastic because LJ had That Kerwin had tons of money. Tons of money.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and very much enough money to send me 2 mailers to my house, letting me know how much of a Republican LJ is.
Well, okay, let's put a pin in that because we're going to get to some state house races. Please don't let me forget that discussion. But I want Derek. Derek, do you have any? What?
Before you go, you need to check that Senate race. You know the one.
Yes.
The one we all look. Not U.S. Senate. I'm sorry, state Senate.
Which one?
Leader Driscoll.
Oh, I can't. That site that you sent me to, the FloridaElectionWatch.gov, it's not updating. See, it's still showing 0 for everybody. For every single race, it's showing 0. So I don't know if it's not updating or government shit always be behind. So I'm trying to figure out how I can see some local state house, state senate, mayoral races. I probably should have done this beforehand. Apologize, folks, for not being as prepared, but we can see how state senate, right? This is the primary. Where is it? Where's Angie's race?
Yeah, because the only Senate race they're going to show you on here is the U.S. Senate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know why it's not updating on this one, but my screen is still showing Nixon in the lead. There we go, 53 to 46 with 71% of the vote in. I mean, I'm gonna be let's be honest. Let's be honest. I'm shocked.
Yes, this is without the panhandle.
I am shocked that this is where we are at this point in time. So obviously it's not even too close to call, too soon to call, because the race is very, very close. So none of the outlets are making any predictions about this race. But I must say I am pleasantly surprised at and very hopeful that this trend continues.
Come on, let's go.
We know that the Panhandle delivered on behalf of Andrew Gillum in his primary. And so what we're going to hope is that trend continues. And we are saying that as individual voters, just in case there is I don't want no shit from nobody. Because
I also would like to point out that there's a certain PAC of a certain organization that is being represented on this call, who was the first national PAC and the first Black org PAC to endorse said individual in the U.S. Senate race. Just keep that to myself.
Just saying.
Just putting that out there.
Out in the atmosphere.
Okay, so there was a request. So there was a pin that we put in one thing, and I want to keep that pin there. But before we move on from the Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I guess, or District 20 race, was there a push that any of you were hearing about the candidates who were running in this primary to drop out and consolidate? Was that a conversation that was going on behind the scenes and all of them was like, nah, I'm not doing it? Or was it just how okay, I see some thumbs up. Nobody else is shaking their head. I certainly don't know. I would suspect that it sounds like it was a conversation that needed to happen if we wanted to prevent this inevitable possibility. But it sounds like, Jamil, you're saying that those conversations did happen behind the scenes.
So 3 weeks after Louisiana versus Calais, Debbie decides that that's when she's going to get in the race for CD20.
Mm-hmm.
There were rumblings of, okay, well, let's all sit down, let's have a conversation, figure this out, because if we all are in the race, we're gonna split the black vote, and then we're gonna win the election. So a week before qualifying, there was a meeting. There was a closed door meeting with all of the black candidates or representatives from their campaigns. It was stated that they had someone that they had someone that was it. Boom. Something happened from that meeting to the day that qualifying was. I distinctively remember the day of qualifying. It was June the 18th. On June the 18th, everybody from CD20 that y'all see showed up in Tallahassee and turned in their paperwork. But the week before, they had a meeting and walked out of that meeting knowing that there was going to only be one candidate that was going to run for that against Debbie.
And it was not Luther Campbell.
I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't Luke.
Wait, did I miss something?
I don't
Meaning
know
it wasn't
who it was.
Luke that was going to drop out?
No, Luke was not going to be the one candidate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I don't know who it was, but I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it wasn't Luke.
Okay. Was it Sheila?
I don't know. That part I don't know. The person that I had the conversation with was like, they knew that it wasn't him.
Okay.
Hey, BJ, real quick, check the agriculture commissioner. I know nobody else cares about this, but the agriculture commissioner.
Yeah, for that website, the FloridaElectionWatch.gov, I just read the fine print. They're not going to release any results on that site until 8 p.m. Eastern, so that's about in 15 minutes. And so that's why everything is showing up as 0, because they don't officially release on that website, which is the government website, until the polls close Central Time. So we've got about 15 minutes until the polls close here. Please, if you're in line in Pensacola, stay in line. Don't get out of line. As long as you're in line before the polls close, you can certainly vote. We definitely need you to vote, particularly if you're voting for Angie Nixon, please stay in line. If you're voting for Jermaine Williams, please stay in line. That's just me speaking. We may have people on the panel who feel differently, and they're certainly open to say that. But at the end of the day, stay in line, because your vote matters no matter who you vote for, in all honesty. I have my favorites, and those are my personal favorites. And we have some friends of the show. But no matter who you decide to vote for, just make sure you stay in line and make sure you vote. You've got about 14 minutes left before polls close Central Time. Now, where were we going to go? Because I have ADD brain, and I didn't forgot where we were. Where I asked to put a pin in something, and I didn't forgot the pin.
I think we covered the
I think
pin.
it was the Senate or the state race, state Senate race, state house.
Oh, you wanted to put a pin in a conversation and have a conversation around something.
We all got ADD brain.
No, because I remember what it was.
Oh, it was the mailers. Was it the mailers? Yes. Okay. So yeah, L.J. Holloway seemed to have fallen prey to this thing where it seems like certain entities, political action committees, are on this thing where they're labeling black women as closeted Republicans. The 92%, right? The 92% is somehow they want to convince convince us that the 92% are somehow in the bag for Donald Trump. I don't even know. Like, who are these people who come up with these things and say, you know what? I got an idea. Let's spend $35,000 trying to convince people that the 92% are in the bag for Donald Trump. And everybody was like, that sounds like a good idea. let's take $57,000 and just blow it and see what happens.
People should give me $57,000 and let me put it into direct voter contact. That's what I need. Direct voter contact, people. That's how you spend your money if you're running a solid campaign, by touching voters with people. And if you're not, then you're sending out stupid mailers that say dumbass shit.
Correct. I got mailers. I kept your mailers, Gay, that for your special election. I actually kept them. Number one, because they were very beautifully designed. Number two, I thought that it was a mailer that did not even mention your opponent. It was all about you, what you stand for, and I kept like 2 or 3 of your mailers. And I just thought it was a good way of not taking the bait, not using your money and finances to prop up your opponent, and really just focusing on what you would like to deliver to the district and to the constituents, no matter what party you belong to. And I thought it was a really good example, which is why I kept them. I did not throw them away. I still have them in my bottom drawer in my office, because I'm like, if I ever run for office, I'm copying this shit.
Derek, you looked surprised about something. Did something happen?
David
What
Jolly's
happened?
on CNN right now. I don't think he's been declared the winner yet, but he's on CNN.
No. We got
What we got?
news in the Senate district race
Which Senate district race?
with Leader Driscoll and Michelle Rayner.
We do have news.
What is the
What's
news?
the news?
Tell me. Where'd you find it?
I texted.
Oh,
I went straight to the sources.
Has it been called already?
And
Because I can't see it.
And I as well went to Pinellas Supervisor of Elections and Hillsborough Supervisor of Elections. It's pretty much called, y'all.
Okay.
Interest is the state senator.
Yeah,
Is it
wasn't
too close to call?
No, it wasn't
No,
close.
not at all.
Not at all.
Has it been
Of
officially
interest.
called? Can I put it on the screen?
It's official. It's official once you put it on the screen.
It's official, right? It's official when you put it on the screen.
Okay. Well, in that case, I think it's
Wow.
official. All right. So it's been called. It's I'm on here twice. Where's
Got the same
Jamil?
information, right? Jamil, that it wasn't even close, right?
I mean, I just got my information straight from the Supervisor of Elections website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because basically most of the precincts
Mm-hmm.
for both counties, because those are the only 2 counties that's in that state Senate seat,
Correct.
Hillsborough and Pinellas, and most of those precincts have already been turned in.
Okay. Well, hopefully when this site updates, we'll get an idea of what we can do. This is not good. Is it not good, or is it good? Is that result, are we rooting for that result, or are we concerned?
Wait, in that Senate race?
Based on that Senate race, are we cool with that result? Are we apprehensive about that result? Or how are we feeling about that result?
So I'm probably going to be the odd man out on this one. I'm fine with it. I absolutely.
You're cutting out, Derek.
Sorry.
It is. It's good.
So, what I was going to say is that for the race, I'm absolutely fine with the result. I'm probably the odd man out on this one. I don't have anything. Let me be clear. I have no qualm, issue, concern with Michelle Rayner whatsoever. I think she's a wonderful state rep. I just don't know her as well as I know Leader Driscoll. So that's my only reason. I have nothing ill to say about Rep Rayner. Love her as a person, love her as a rep. I just know Leader Driscoll better. That's the only reason.
I like both of them, and I've always liked both of them. But the race got nasty, which is unexpected. That's the unexpected part. Nasty.
Yeah, it did get nasty towards the end. What was I mean, unexpected that it got nasty, but not unexpected when when the entity that jumped within the race jumped in the race. So that is what is not unexpected, is that the entities that had their hands in this race in order to control what people thought about the individual candidates, once that sort of took a hold, which thank you Citizens United, which is why we need to get corporate PAC money out of races. um, this is sort of the outcome that what could have been expected. This is certainly what they wanted. The entities, the data centers, Meta. This is the result that they wanted, and they put the money in the race to get the result that they wanted. Unfortunately, they thought that in order to get the result that they wanted, they needed to basically compare one of the more progressive leaders within the Florida State House and somehow jump on this Black women are Republicans bandwagon. And what disappointed me is that Leader Driscoll, while she is supposed to not have any affiliation or association with the PACs, she certainly wasn't like, nah, I don't ride like that. That's not my thing. I don't go after Black women. She rode the wave. And as you say, Derek, I mean, I like them both as legislators. And so I don't have any qualms about their legislative records as individuals, but to be honest, I was disappointed that these outside entities came into the race to try and pit Black women against each other, and it seems as though one person enjoyed it.
I kind of love though that two Black women were in a race button heads. I mean, I love that. I love more women running. I love more Black women running. I love it. And it shouldn't get nasty, but that's how politics are, man. That is that's politics.
Yeah. Jamel, what's your thoughts? And I know,
I'm on the
Derek, you got to
opposite
go.
of I'm on the opposite of Derek in that Derek knows Fentress a little bit better than Michelle. I know Michelle a little bit better than Fentress. Legislative wise, again, don't have a problem with either one. I do have a problem when entities start telling lies, and these things, we all know these things are flat out lies. And when you're asked as the opponent to condemn the lie, you don't.
Yeah.
That becomes the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, you went on record and stated on record that you had nothing to do with the Millers. And you track the money, you find out you didn't have anything to do with the Millers. We all know data centers and Meta. We all know Rep Rayner's history with Meta and just social media in general, with the piece of legislation that she drew up in the House around social media and putting restrictions on social media 16 and under. So Meta had a horse in the race, so to speak. We also know the history of Rep Rayner's dealings with data centers and voting on the data center legislation, and Rep. Driscoll's same. I mean, Rep. Driscoll's vote on that same data center legislation. So once again, data centers have a favorite within the race of people who they think are going to benefit them more if they're in office. My only the only thing that I can say is, as we now have State Senator-elect Driscoll, is that hopefully State Senator-elect Driscoll shows sincere concern for her constituents in District 16 and not for those who seemingly place funding and resources within said campaign.
I can understand. I see that. What also concerned me was that these two candidates are vying for a seat where they're more than likely going to be in a super minority, which means they will have no legislative power. I mean, a lot of people don't understand what it actually means to be in a super minority. That means they don't even have to really do this committee thing. Like, they do committee just kind of appease, but at the end of the day, we really don't even have to do this whole committee thing. And so it really is a high level of political power in state legislative government when you're in the super minority, or when you're in the super majority.
When we look at the state Senate versus the state House,
you think there's a chance?
The Dems are more in a minority right now than a super minority in the state Senate. They're in a outright super minority in the state House. They always got to go and have conversations with their GOP counterparts to get any piece of legislation passed. I think the biggest example that I can give with how the minority almost worked in Democrats' favor in the state Senate was the redistricting situation this year, because that bill the maps legitimately almost failed in the state Senate until Louisiana versus Calais was passed. The moment Louisiana versus Calais was passed, the state Senate took a brief 15-minute recess, came back, and their whole demeanor changed. Because before, Republican state senators were trying to work across the aisle with the Dems because they knew they had the numbers, but there were some Republicans that were like, well, we probably are going to lean with the Dems on this map situation because it doesn't make any sense for us to pass this map, because essentially what you might all end up doing is, if we pass this map, you're going to change a district that could be a Republican 15.
Oh my God, wait. I'm sorry to interrupt you. They are projecting, CNN is projecting Angie Nixon as the winner.
What?
Can you believe it? I need you all to understand that CNN. Wait. Where's my shit?
Wait, hold on. Don't do that. Wait. Because hold on.
Wait, what? What?
No, I'm before I cut my jig and do my TikTok, make sure we got it. What is MSNBC saying too?
Not just MSNBC, but also the New York Times as well.
MSNBC is saying too close to call. CNN is projecting that she will win her race. You want me to go to New York Times? Yeah, I want me to go to a third source. New York Times is making me pay for results, so I can't go to New York Times. But
I got it.
if y'all got a subscription, y'all can see what New York
I got it right
Times
here.
is saying. What they saying? Too close? Too close?
No, the New York Times is projecting that Angie Nixon has
Oh,
won
they're
the
so they're
Democratic
calling it. Oh, wonderful.
Yep.
Oh,
That's ball game, y'all.
y'all. Oh,
as
wait a
more
second.
as
Wait a
as
second.
more
Wait a.
precincts are coming in. Right now, we are at 83% of votes in on the New York Times. Angie Nixon is at 617,188 to Alexander Vindman's 499,769.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna let's bring in, we have a guest who's come in so we can you can talk about this. We have Ingrid Wadsworth who advanced to the general election. Where is she? Are you here, Ingrid? Where are you, Ingrid? Let's see. There you are. And then
Hey,
Jamil is
hi
still
everybody.
here.
Hi, Gabe.
And, all
I
right,
see
there we
familiar
are.
faces.
Okay, so what we have is, let me get this timer off. All right, so you've just come in as the race has been called for Angie Nixon. You were at the event when
Yay!
Angie Nixon came to visit Gulf Breeze, which is in Santa Rosa County, the county in which you and I reside in. And believe it or not, that was the highest turnout event of this political season was when Angie Nixon came. So that's a testament to how invigorating and the amount of enthusiasm that people had for her candidacy, but also just the enthusiasm that people care, that people come to our area, show their face, ask for our votes, tell us what we're going to get for our votes in return if we elect them. And so it was just a great experience. And there were a lot of haters online who were just like, why is she here? This place is ruby red Republican. This was the highest attended event of this election season when Angie Nixon came to Santa Rosa County. So what are your thoughts on that, Ingrid? And then we'll get into your race, but tell us what you think about this breaking news. Angie Nixon is the Democratic candidate.
It's great news. I mean, it just shows that people are ready for change. They're ready for something different. You know, that old saying about keep doing the same thing, keep getting the same results. So I think people are ready for something different. And, you know, she's worked hard for it. I mean, my gosh, the amount of videos and just marketing that she's done for herself and the amount of support she's had. You know, I still, because I hail from Wisconsin years ago, I still follow Wisconsin. There's people, you know, in Wisconsin helping her with her campaign. So it's kind of an amazing thing what she's been able to do as far as to motivate and inspire people. And that's all her. I mean, she's just an amazing woman. So I'm pretty excited about this race.
Yeah.
We have another race to call that has been called not only by MSNBC, but CNN and maybe New York Times has called it as well. But David Jolly has been called to win.
They have.
Okay, so David Jolly has won the Democratic primary for governor as well. Let's go back to our panel. What do you all think about those results? Anybody?
I'm happy. I support David Jolly. That's it.
Well, me too. He's another candidate that's worked really, really hard. I mean, he's been out there, he's been doing the work and getting his message out, and his message is strong. So he's another candidate that is inspiring people that there can be something different on the horizon, that there is a possibility for change. So that's great.
I think having a Nixon Jolly ticket when it comes to top of the ticket here in Florida is a really strong. It's strong, like it's very strong because Rep Nixon is going to draw in your progressive voters, and she's going to draw in your young Black voters, and young progressive voters, while former Representative Jolly is going to draw in your quote unquote establishment slash moderate Dems. And the progressives are going to start leaning towards him, especially when they start going out across the state for real, him and Gwen, because a lot of us within the younger age range, we like Gwen. Gwen legitimately
Yeah.
is a really nice person. And she's the one that's the most vocal out of the two when they're out and about canvassing and talking to the voters and everything. We all understand that Congressman Jolly is the face, and Representative Graham is, she's here. Like she
Yeah.
will speak to you. She will have those conversations with you. I think this is a really good opportunity for us to get back into that purple place that Florida has always been in, but because of voter suppression and voter apathy, it's put us in a place that we're the current place that we're in right now. I'm excited.
I
We
am
about
too.
to turn up the rest of this season.
Yes. Derek, I don't know if you're smiling frozen or if you are just listening, but I would love your insight on these two projected wins, Angie Nixon for U.S. Senate and David Jolly for Florida governor.
So here's the first thing that I'm gonna say is God don't like ugly. How about that?
Mm.
So yeah, and then I'm gonna quote Nene Links. You never can win when you play dirty, honey. You never can win when you play dirty. So what I'm gonna say
Who quotes Mimi
is,
Leaks?
you don't know who Nene Leaks is?
No, I know who it is, but who
Oh, I
quotes
was
her?
gonna say, get off this podcast. You're fired. Like, wait a minute, what the hell are you talking about? But this is what I'm saying. I'm sitting here just kind of refreshing the results because I'm looking to see. I'm curious to see if Escambia goes, what Escambia does in this race. Um, you know, with that, they're still slow. They only got 9 out of the 80 precincts done. But with that, I can just say you never can win when you play dirty. But more importantly, I know some folks are crying right now. They crying not because he lost, because they don't have little access to the money. Somebody done lost a whole $13 million purse, and so with that, that's all I can say. You never can win when you play dirty. Now with David Jolly, I mean, it's not. I'm excited for him. Congratulations, but it wasn't. It's not ground shattering news, right? We knew that was going to be the case, right? So this is where we are, and I hope that we can continue to move this thing forward. Now, if we can get Earl Ford across the finish
It's
line,
not looking good for Earl.
yeah, I
And
see
Joey
that. That's all I
Hecker.
was looking at.
Here's
Then
Earl right now. He's with 34% of the vote right now.
that's crazy.
Y'all, I hate to have to do this, but I'm going to go to Aaron Toller's school board celebration right now. Can you give me an update on school board if that's a possibility?
Yeah. So right now,
Where are you at, Derek? Put where you at in the chat so I can go to that site because I'm on Escambia SOE's website, but I don't see results.
Hold on, it's
I
under
only see
scrolling
turnout.
banner.
Yeah, I'm on WKRG and they haven't loaded school board yet.
There it is.
You put it in the chat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll get that loaded up. Nancy. And Ingrid, we didn't get your thoughts on the Did we get your thoughts on the governor's race? You talked about Angie, but not the governor's race.
I did a little, but I'd like to echo those comments that this is together they appeal to a wide range of people. I think it kind of is an ideal package there.
Mm-hmm. One of the things, and I'm just trying to find that race. Looks like Angie Nixon even eclipsed Alex Vindman in Escambia County. And who do we have for lieutenant governor? All right. Tell me when we get to school board. Where's Aaron? Aaron is running a little bit behind. Just a smidget, though. Not terrible.
Just a smidge.
Okay. So, all right. So
It's only 2 of the 13 precincts that have reported, so it's not for Aaron. So it's not, it's still too early to make a determination one way or the
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I guess I'll just interject my thoughts. One of the things that I consistently heard particularly when it came to both the gubernatorial race as well as the and if you gotta sign off, that's cool. I'll just put Ingrid in our 4-panel boxes.
Okay.
All
All right. Peace out, y'all.
All right.
Bye, Gabe. Good seeing you.
Let's get Ingrid. Where are you? There you are. Okay.
Hey, here I am.
So I was hearing that we need to think about the best candidate that can win in the general. And so I was constantly being fed with information about making voting choices based on who could predictably win in the general. And I'm like, that's not what primaries are for. Primaries are for us to be able to look at the candidates, see which candidate most closely aligns with the vision that we want to see move forward in the state or in the country or in the district that we live in. It's not about voters having to make these educated and calculated, and educated is really not the word I want to use, but calculated strategy to determine who can win in the general. You look at the candidates, and my recommendation, especially how I vote, my recommendation is to vote for the person who most closely aligns with your vision for how the country goes. And then, if your candidate does not win, you look at the candidate who has won. More than likely, they're in alignment with you, maybe, 75, 80% of the time. And so you vote for the candidate who is in most alignment with you once you are given your binary choice. And so, or tertiary choice in certain instances when there's an NPA or an independent candidate in those particular races. And so I always advocate for, in primaries, do not make calculated votes. Do not say, oh, well, this person can't win, because nobody knows who can win and who can't win. People thought Donald Trump couldn't win. I remember the times when people were saying, calling him a joke and saying that, there was no way and we're not going to even cover him because his campaign is a joke. And now we're on Trump 2.0 at this point. And so this idea that people can't win, if you vote for people, they can win. As we see with Angie Nixon. And I will be honest with you, it was in Angie Nixon's race that people were saying, Lieutenant Colonel Vindman was a more appealing candidate for a general electorate in the state of Florida. But at the end of the day, we elect who we vote for. And now is the time for us to soldier up, roll up our sleeves, and make sure that the ticket that we have is going to be the ticket that leads us to victory. Because y'all, in Florida, we've got to stop the hemorrhage. We've got to stop the hemorrhage. I'm not sure that they can propose monumental changes, because we know that monumental shifts don't happen with like historically. It's really incremental, but we have to put a different set of leaders in office so that we stop the hemorrhage of what's happening in this state. We have had a lot of things that have gone down, between Don't Say Gay, between book bans, between eliminating Black history, between erasing Black Lives Matter murals, and the list goes on and on and on. Remember that eliminating that Black access district didn't just start after Calais. We have Al Lawson as proof of that. That happened with Al Lawson. So Florida was eliminating Black access districts long before it was the thing. So that we've got to stop the hemorrhage. And I think with the ticket that we have, that it's certainly a ticket that can at least start the process of turning this thing around. Your thoughts? I won't filibuster no more. Ingrid, what do you think?
No, I agree. It's a different climate we've got out there now. with the amount of pain and struggle that's happening now with the average Floridian, and just everything that they see in the news every day, it feels like every day is a new unbelievable thing that's happening to them, and it's hitting their pocketbooks, and it's hitting their households. We're in a different climate now. I think as I talk to people, as I'm on the campaign trail, and I was out in Milton today all day talking to folks, there's a huge appetite for something way different. And so I think that we're going to see a different kind of voter this time than maybe we've had in the past.
Okay. And now we've got Johnny's come back. I'm just going to add him to the screen. Have you give us some updates on our mayoral race, and then while they're doing that, I will figure out a way to get Johnny in. Anybody?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
So right now, it's still too early to tell. In the mayoral race, we've only got. Oh wait, hold on. They just did an update. Let's look. 14 out of the 20 precincts with. Ooh, uh, so DC Reeves has 53% of the vote right now. With
So that means there will be no runoff if that trend continues.
If that trend continues, there will not be a runoff.
Well, thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that?
It's disappointing. That's not what I expected. But clearly the mailer, it worked. I guess for the folks, is for him. Like I know he was uh, pacing frantically, and it looks like our referendum is going to pass. They overwhelmingly seem to be voting yes for it by 71%. But right now it's unfortunate. Like it's not what I expected. Um, I thought folks would come in with much stronger showing, at least to force a runoff. But in this case, with 14 out of the 20 precincts reporting, it doesn't look like we're going to see that. I mean, things could change, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case right
now. Okay. And again, we were talking about this at the top of the show about how there was an infusion of cash at the last minute into this mayoral race because Republicans were, deathly afraid of DC Reeves not winning re-election. And so I'm trying to see who came in a close second. Looks like Alicia Trawick came in second, and Jermaine Williams is running in third. Jasmine Brown in fourth, and Eric Shorter in fifth. So, well, Pensacola, I hope you all are happy with what you decided, and we'll keep it most. It has not been called yet, but we'll continue to look at that race. Ingrid, let's talk about your race. And we discussed earlier that you were advancing to the general, which is in November, to represent
Right.
House District 3, which is parts of Santa Rosa County, Navarre as well, the northern part of Okaloosa County, which is the neighboring county next directly east of Santa Rosa County. Talk about what you've learned since coming into this race. How are you using what you're learning about the constituencies to formulate your platform? What are those top things that you're hearing from voters, particularly as it surrounds a change moment in the electorate?
Yeah, there is a real, like I've talked already, there's a real appetite for change. The more that I talk to people, the more that I hear that. Now we know that my opponent just got in under a special election last June, so he's only been in the job about a year. So, and the general consensus that I hear is that they're not impressed with the job that he's done. And so there's a real appetite for something different. And it's actually kind of surprising and kind of nice as a Democrat to be thanked for running. I went to a couple of meetings today in Milton, our garden club and Rotary and so forth. And a couple of people grabbed me by the arm and said, "Oh my God, thank God you're running. Thank you for giving us a choice in Santa Rosa County." So there's a big, I think, underground movement that's kind of growing in Santa Rosa County and Okaloosa. Now, Okaloosa is a little different for my district, District 3, because it's basically I-10, but then Crestview is cut out and belongs to Fort Walton Beach area.
Right.
So it's pretty country up there, pretty rural.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be my next focus, is to get up there and start talking to those folks. I've been talking to the Extension Service and others, trying to get information and data on things that are happening up there, so that I can get up, because I've got experience. I moved down here after selling my farm, so I am familiar with rural issues and urban sprawl and overdevelopment and that kind of thing that comes along with developing rural lands and the environmental issues there. So I'm really inspired. The more that I talk to people, the more I feel pushed to keep going forward, that there is a real want for this in Santa Rosa and Okaloosa County.
And talk about some of the issues that you are hearing people particularly concerned about when it comes to cost of living, healthcare, environment, et cetera. What issues are you hearing?
Well, certainly the affordability issues are the biggest problem that most people are concerned about. And, it kind of revolves around that trifecta of insurance. You've got your homeowners, your car insurance, and your homeowner's insurance. Did I say that right? Health insurance, homeowners insurance, and car insurance, which have all risen dramatically. And then, of course, the cost of food. And then just general expenses have gone up dramatically, that people are having to make terrible choices out there. And it's just putting a lot of pressure on families right now. So that is definitely the number one issue that I'm hearing out there. But I'm hearing a lot about developers and developing properties, especially around the Milton area, East Milton, Pace, all the way up 87. It's just, and even in where I live in Navarre, it's just a lot of development. And I was having a conversation today about how clear cutting is just happening, and how there's very little concern for just knocking the whole thing down and starting over. So, and how we need to be concerned about our water quality and our aquifers for our water quality that we drink, potable water. So, I mean, there's just a myriad of issues out there. And of course, as you move towards Pace and Jay, I've talked to people about some of the issues there with whiting and, some of the unique pollution issues that are around that area. People really want somebody to do and work for them. And they don't feel like people are working, their elected officials are working for them right now. And so I think as Democrats, that's where we're strongest, is that we're people. And we can bring that. We can bring that authenticity too.
Right. And I think what your opponent, who you're going to face in the general election, I think a lot of people thought that he would be the person that would take the voice of rural Okaloosa County and northern Santa Rosa County. He's from Okaloosa County. Take that to Tallahassee. But ultimately what he learned was, when you get to Tallahassee, particularly if you're a Republican, you are handed an agenda and you are to pass that agenda. And you are not to question that agenda. You are not to have any thoughts, concerns, or you're not even to discuss how this will affect your constituency. You're encouraged not to have town halls to figure out how the particular policy agenda that you've been handed is going to affect the everyday citizens. And what I think a lot of voters have realized is that this is the way it works when you elect Republicans. My hope, my prayer is that people will finally get within their skulls the idea that the closest people to your everyday life are your state reps, your county commissioners, your state senators. These we pay attention a lot to national politics, but the people who have the greatest control over your everyday life, whether or not you have flock cameras in your neighborhood, whether or not you have a data center that pops up in your community, these issues, these decisions are made at the local and state level. And so when you send a candidate to Tallahassee, or when you send an elected official to the county commission or your city council, these are the people who are making the decisions. And when there's an ethos within that structure, within that political party, that this is the agenda, and if you don't pass it, I will hold funding for your district hostage. Like, this is the games that Republicans in our state play. That doesn't mean that every Republican is like that, but politically, these are the games that we see played in Tallahassee. You take the agenda we give you, if you don't pass it, we'll use your constituents and the funding of their community as ransom. So Santa Rosa County, we got to make a different choice. We have to decide, are we comfortable with the status quo, or do we want a people-powered person to show up in Tallahassee who is not handed an agenda other than the agenda you hand them? And that is in Ingrid Wadsworth.
Yeah, thank you because that's exactly right, BJ. I mean, when I talk to people, I say, what has he done well? What do you need that he hasn't brought? And 9 out of 10 people I talk to say, I've never met him. I've never seen him. I've never seen him at anything. He's just invisible. So I think that that's what my campaign can bring. And that's why I'm hitting the towns every day. I'm going to meetings. I'm going to, the Rotary meetings and the other group meetings and the women's groups meetings, and, showing that I'm available and accessible, because we are a people-powered party. Right. And people are ready for that.
Definitely ready. And Derek, you can want any final thoughts before you check out? I know you're saying you're getting calls.
I've got to head out. I've got to got to talk to the candidates. Right now, with the election results as they are, we gotta, I got to make sure that they're all right and congratulate them on the races that they ran, because they all did phenomenal jobs. They worked their butts off in this election cycle. So I'm going to chat with them for a little bit. And, what I will say is congratulations to the Nixon campaign. And it looks like we're still carrying that Angie won in Escambia County. So I'm stoked about that, So there's a positive that came through the night. Certainly it's those two races, and now we get to the nitty gritty.
Jamil, are you going to hang out? Or are you going to head out too?
I'm heading out as well.
Me and Ingrid will hold the fort.
Hey.
Shout out to my best friend, my sister, my Duval, ride or die, State Representative Angie Nixon. We move into November.
Nice. Yes, we're very excited about that. Ditto from everybody here. We appreciate that. All right, guys.
And if I get where I can and y'all are still on, I'll check back and see if I get one of the candidates on.
Yeah, we'll be here. We'll be here until all the races are called. Okay.
See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right, Ingrid. While I'm working on our screen for just the two of us, you talk more about what your platform is, and your appeal to the voters. And I'm going to work on getting our screen with just the two of us. Okay. So go on ahead.
Sure. I'll take up. Was Johnny getting on?
John, he said his phone died, so he's got to charge it, and then he's gonna get on, and then maybe let's see. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to join tonight. Lauren Donahue said she was gonna call, but she had a pet emergency. Lauren Donahue is running for State Senate District 2. She was gonna join us, but unfortunately, it looks like she's had an emergency with her with her family dog. So we wish them well. Hopefully
My gosh.
it's not too terrible because, our fur babies are like our children. I know mine
Yes.
is. Literally, mine is right here under me.
I know. You can hear my cat meowing at me because he wants my attention.
So, yes, there's your cat. I hear it. So, yeah, go ahead and do that while I'm working on our screen for two people. And our prayers go out
Sure.
to Lauren's family.
Well, it's pretty fun. I'm just getting my yard signs together, my palm cards, my business cards. I've got a full slate of meetings this week, and really my strategy is to get out there and to meet people. I've got, I think, a unique background. And I probably should talk about this more because I don't actually have it on my website, but I have been an elected official before. Somebody asked me from the county commissioner's office when I was talking, are you running right into the state House of Representatives without ever been elected before? And I said, oh, no. I've served as a trustee in Illinois when I lived there. And I've also been very involved with the Democratic Party when I lived up in Wisconsin, and as well as being an Emerge grad. So things have changed a little. I got a chance to go over to Gay's office and do some phone banking with her. So that's all, from the time that I was doing phone banking a couple of years ago, it's dramatically improved, a lot easier now that it's all done on a laptop. But yeah, I've got my team together and we're ready to hit those doors and get that phone banking going and get out there. And my campaign's all about person to person. I really want to get myself out there and have people meet me and see what I bring.
Talk about what experience have you had, not only in the environmental space, but also within the electoral space about, what it's like to run for an office and win that election, and the amount of the work on the ground that needs to happen to bring a candidate that you're passionate about into office.
Oh, are you talking about the elections or the campaigns that I've worked on in the past?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was involved with a couple of campaigns. The one that I was most closely involved with was George Farrader for state senate in Wisconsin, and I was the communications coordinator for that. And we would have weekly meetings, which is what I'm trying to do now, is have weekly meetings. Although a lot of that has moved to WhatsApp and other SMS to coordinate, but it really takes that because it's and as you know, BJ, and maybe others who are watching may not know, it's a day-to-day evolving thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like being on this show, for example, tonight, is a great opportunity. Thank you for that. But you have to be really nimble. Luckily, I'm retired. I retired early at 55, so I have all my time and energy invested in the campaign right now.
Which sometimes that's what it takes.
It does take, but it's an exciting time. I mean, one of the upsides, of course, with running is besides the fact that you get to meet a lot of really interesting people, you get to see a lot of really interesting things. So places that I normally wouldn't go to or attend, I've gotten to know the streets really well. I'm driving all over the place. So that is definitely a plus side. I'm seeing things that I normally maybe wouldn't see in order to get to the places where I need to talk to folks. So yeah, I think there's a real opportunity for change and to break this 30-year regime that's been in Tallahassee. That has to happen. And of course, the fact that I think we need more women at the table and more women in rooms where important decisions are being made. I think that goes without saying that I'm a strong voice for that. I'm a strong advocate for women. And so that is something I'm really looking forward to. And I know that certainly is the appeal with all the different women's groups that I'm involved with is just the excitement of having a woman candidate in the race. So I'm glad to represent that as well.
Thank you so much for talking me through getting us both on
Yes.
screen.
Did that help?
Oh, it was so helpful because I was like, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Keep going. I'm almost there. But now we're here.
I'm a Gemini, so I can talk forever.
Now, as we transition from a primary in which you didn't have a person running against you for the Democratic nomination for House District 3. So that allowed you a little bit of liberty to have the conversations, to get to know the electorate without having to do that while simultaneously running against someone. So as we transition now into the November election, and we're trying to stop using the words primary in general because all elections are important, not just, and so we're trying to transition into the November election instead of calling it the general election. So as we transition into the November election, now you've got an opponent. And so how is that shifting your thought process of getting to know the electorate, running for office, while simultaneously realizing that now you're going to have someone to run against?
Well, certainly it changes things. It's all been quiet on the Western Front so far. Although my strategy really is to run on my own platform and to push the issues that are important to the people of Santa Rosa. I mean, I live here. Santa Rosa is my home by choice, and I'm super involved in so many activities. I talked already about Milton Garden Club and Rotary, Navarre Rotary. I'm also in Impact 100, and I've been just super involved, which is my nature. I tend to, wherever I land, I get super involved. So, I mean, I want to stick to listening. In the past few months that I've been able to go out and talk to people, I've really managed to sharpen up my issues, because talking to people, some of the things that I thought in May were important were not as important as I thought. And some other issues have popped up, and people are very excited to talk to me about them. They've got strong points of view on a lot of issues. So I'm a listener. I'm willing to listen. I want to hear it. And I want to be able to sharpen that so that when I get to Tallahassee, I can hit the ground running.
Nice. Now, you mentioned about the water issue in Santa Rosa County. And one of the things that has been particularly coming up with at county commissioner meetings as well as city council meetings is that the southern part of the county relies on an aquifer for pretty much all of its fresh water. And that aquifer it sits on a piece of land, and it's basically almost at about 80% capacity in terms of pumping fresh water from it. The issue that people are having is that elected officials are allowing developers to come into the area and build these, multi-hundred home subdivisions without taking into consideration that we're already at about 80 to 85% capacity in the southern part of the county with fresh water. And there are no rules, there are no laws, there's nothing that says that these county commissioners have to take into consideration the environmental impact before these subdivisions are approved. So we're basically just relying on their goodwill, relying on their care for their everyday citizen, because there's nothing that says that they can't do it. But what we're seeing is that relying on their goodwill of the elected officials actually isn't curtailing the development that we're seeing. Have you heard from constituents about that? It's certainly something I hear about.
I have, and it's something that I want to study more. So in my resume of experience, I did work for U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for 10 years, and I was in the water division for a big portion of those years, and then the groundwater protection branch for another big portion of those years. So that's actually been brought to my attention a few times in the past 2 weeks, actually.
Really?
And so that's, especially as it relates to urban sprawl and developers and impact fees and that kind of thing. And infrastructure to support, and the roads to support these developments and all those. So I definitely want to study and dig into those issues a little more, and find out the specifics of what we're dealing with in Santa Rosa County.
Yeah.
Because it's a big issue for a lot of people, especially as we continue to grow.
Correct. The other thing that was brought to my attention, and I'm not at liberty to say who brought this to my attention, but there in Santa Rosa County, there's been so much development that the pumping mechanisms, and you may know more about this, than me, about flow dynamics and, the size of the pump and the physics behind how diameter of a pipe controls the amount of water flow and water pressure. That's taken me way back to college physics. But there are certain parts of the county where the development has grown so much that the pipes, the infrastructure beneath the ground, the pipes are not wide enough to carry water to the pressure that would be required if there were a really huge fire, for example. Like if a house caught on fire and maybe it impacted the two houses on either side of it, there is not enough water pressure to actually put those fires out if those emergencies happened, because the infrastructure hasn't been able to keep up with the growth. And so that's pretty scary. I think that's something that a lot of people don't know, that maybe your firefighters won't even have enough water pressure in your neighborhood to put out a fire if your house, God forbid, caught on fire. And so I don't know if you're aware of that. Maybe I'm putting you on the spot. So
Yeah, you are. But that's okay. I mean, one of the things I know Holly Navarre Fire Department was on the ballot for tonight, so I'm kind of interested to see how that turned out as well. Do we have any results on that?
I'd have to. I'll go to Santa Rosa's. Let's see.
Yeah, because they're definitely on my list to talk to. I mean, they are a very active group and had a lot of support for their on the ballot for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that's another issue that I definitely want to study.
Are you're on Holly Navarre water? Because I'm on Midway water.
Oh yeah, I'm on Holly Navarre water.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on a different
where I'm at.
Which also a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these water companies are owned by these sort of local, I don't want to call them corporations, because they're not huge in the sense of like they're big as Amazon or big as Meta, but they are there are companies. And so we were just talking last week on an episode about how there's been cyber attacks on water treatment plants launched against our country by foreign actors, and how a lot of these small water companies just don't have within their budget to be able to combat the military of an entire country who decides that it wants to attack, the grid, the electric grid, or the water table, or the water treatment facilities, and how it's actually gotten to a point that it's become a national security issue when it comes to protecting our drinking water, protecting our wastewater treatment, and not mixing sewage with what you put in your
source water with wastewater.
Right. Do you have any experience with that by any chance?
Not directly here, but it's definitely on my list to study. Now, that's a huge issue around the country. That's not just here in Santa Rosa County or Okaloosa, but and I know the military has plans in place for their facilities when it comes to cyber attacks and so forth too. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting new world that we're getting into here with all these cyber attacks.
Yeah, that question was actually brought up at the Gulf Breeze News Town Hall.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, it was a question that was mentioned during Gulf Breeze News Town Hall, and I was actually shocked that many of the candidates, actually, it was not something that was on their purview. Gay had an answer. Shocker.
Oh, okay.
Shocker. No one was shocked by that Gay had was abreast of the issues, because she's run for office and she studies these things. It's what she's dedicated her life to
at the federal level. Yeah,
correct. Sure. And so obviously more funding would need to be put in place in order to have to ensure that the local companies like Midway Water, like ECUA, like Holly Navarre have the resources available to them in order to be able to combat certain risk mitigation of cyber attacks, because nobody wants to be the example, right?
Right.
and also give them funding to do disaster drills. So what happens if you are attacked? Is there immediate shutoff so that that cyber attack doesn't actually reach the household of individuals?
Right.
And so certainly doing those disaster preparedness requires funding. It also requires experts in order to do that training, but also not only doing disaster preparedness, but actually preventing the disaster from happening in the first place. Because obviously, the disaster preparedness is your last form of defense, not your first form of defense. Your first form of defense is prevention. Um, so yeah, it was
It's
her thoughts were very interesting, and she was the only one who you could tell had actually thought through that process, and so that was interesting. I'm trying to find the Holly Navar
well, and of course, a lot of the
results.
funding for those grants and those programs have disappeared in the past few years. So, yeah,
Yes,
it's
huge sigh,
yes, it is. I
major
mean, I
sigh.
spent a majority of my career, well, I've spent my whole career in the environmental business and, a good portion of my career at US EPA. And it's very discouraging knowing that so much of the work we all did has been undone um, by this administration. So it's hard to witness.
Hmm. As you're transitioning, when you become House District Three's uh, state
Representative.
representative, it will be at the same time that a um, amendment on the ballot with regards to property taxes you'll be on that same ballot if they're able to get the language correct. I know a judge ruled that the language was purposely misleading, and so that language has to be changed if they want to place that on the ballot. But if that, I certainly don't doubt that they will do what it takes in order to get that on the ballot. How are you navigating a space where people do want a greater portion of their take home pay, but at the same time realizing that counties and districts have to be fiscally responsible to the resources that they are constitutionally mandated to provide?
Yeah, and that's where my experience as a former elected official, as a trustee for a village in Illinois, comes into play because there's so much more that is funded by that. It's not just police uh, and those kind of services. It's everything else. And so, to me, it's a quality of life issue. So I know that it's being sold as a savings
Mm-hmm.
for people, and I understand when people right now are hurting, they want to try and slim down their budget as much as they possibly can, and it sounds appealing, but I think what is not being sold or what is not being disclosed is how much they're going to lose uh, by approving this going forward, and how much their local officials, which is like you were talking about early, BJ. So many decisions are made at the local level,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a critical part of tailor making our government to work for us where we live. It's so important, and that's going to go away. That ability is going to go away, and you're centralizing power in Tallahassee, and who don't know us, and who don't know the things that we need in our counties.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of that. And I hope that people ultimately understand what they're going to lose if they vote for that to
Yeah.
happen.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm looking at some results here, particularly in
Can be
Santa Rosa
seen.
County, since we are both Santa Rosa County residents. Let's go specifically to Santa Rosa and let's see where we are. So, as you can see here, Santa Rosa County voted with 75% of the vote for current U.S. Senator who was appointed to replace Marco Rubio when Marco Rubio ascended to Secretary of State. Governor Ron DeSantis appointed Attorney General Ashley Moody to that seat, and she basically ran for re-election in her primary, never held a single town hall, never attended a single forum, and for some reason it's a story we keep hearing of people Do you hear thunder, or is that the military bombs
It
dropping?
is. No, it's really bad weather here in Navarre right now.
Oh, okay.
It's bad. It's coming through. It's a red zone here right
Okay,
now.
yeah. My whole I'm in my garage. My studio's in the garage, and like the
Oh,
whole door just went boom, boom.
oh
I
yeah,
was like,
it's
okay,
bad. It's going to be through 9 o'clock about.
okay. All right. So here's Congress. This is
Yeah.
another
So
race that I'm
so
shocked.
moody. Yeah.
I'm shocked and disappointed with this congressional race because um, while I'm not a registered Republican, but I have been to Republican forums, and Doug
Oh,
Chico, while there are some issues that I have with him, he's obviously going to have a different policy objective than I have from because that's why we're in different parties. But the man doesn't sound crazy, right? So
oh,
I'm like, if I
right.
have to choose a Republican, I would have chosen Doug Chico. Um, so it's shocking to me that he would have the least amount of votes because he's the one
Yeah.
that, from my perspective, sounded the most serious. Jamie Petronis never showed up for a single forum.
No,
So
I've not seen him.
hasn't shown up for a forum, doesn't live in the district, and Republicans are like, so what? I don't understand it. Help me understand it. This man doesn't even take the time to show up to
I know.
forums that you all take the time to plan. I am a Democratic leader. I know the amount of work, the amount of time it takes to plan these forums, to market them, to invite people, the amount of money it takes, because sometimes you want to feed people, sometimes you want to have refreshments, sometimes it takes money to do all those things. And the man who is literally sitting in the office does not have the temerity to actually show up and tell the voters in his own party what he wants to do on behalf of them or explain to them what he's done on behalf of them. And yet they still march to the polls and give him 65% of the vote. Now, John Frankman, that's a loony bird. I've been, I've been, I've been to the forums. That's cuckoo cuckoo right there. And he
Yeah.
makes me he makes me ashamed to be a devout Catholic because he always professes this his Catholicism, and I'm like, I don't know what Catholic church you grew up in, sir, but the Catholic church I grew up in was a church of we feed the sick, we feed the hungry, we take care of the sick, hashtag healthcare. We welcome in, the stranger, hashtag immigration.
Immigrants, right? I'm a Catholic too. Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not sure what Catholic church you went to, sir, but that is not the one that I grew up in. To be honest with you, the Catholic church we really didn't even do politics. It was very, welcoming. This is what we do. And actually,
Absolutely.
it wasn't actually until I moved to Florida that I realized that Catholics really have a thing about about sexuality and about LGBT. That is just not I went to a Catholic elementary school. I went to a Catholic middle school. I went to a Catholic high school. I went to a Catholic college. It just wasn't something that came up. It really, it would actually be weird. Can you imagine a nun in school, talking about sex and homosexuality? It mortifies me just thinking about it. So I'm like, what church did you go to? Because it's just not
Right.
things that we talked about. And so the idea for a Catholic to lecture me as someone who literally went through a religious-based education all the way through college, and would have gone to a Catholic medical school had I not had it been cheaper. I decided to go to a public school because medical school is expensive. But yeah, I'm glad you told me you're a Catholic. Keep going, expounding on what I'm saying, because I'm like, I don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. And I mean, it kind of reminds me of a funny story. Sixth grade, Sister Imelda. We had the boys in one room and the girls in the other. And Sister Imelda said, "You put your questions for that, birds and bees talk in this little jar," and she was going to answer those questions. And she opened that tin on the first day, unfolded the paper, looked at it, put it back. grabbed another one, looked at it, put it back. That was the extent of our birds and bees talk in 6th grade from Sister Imelda.
Oh
So
my
I don't think
God.
she answered one question in that whole 10.
That literally could be a sitcom episode. That is hilarious. I love it, and I believe every moment of it.
Yep. So
Now, in high school, I went to an all-male Catholic high school. We did have, they called it human anatomy. Maybe we had like an anatomy course where we, discuss. There was a portion of that class that sort of discussed sexuality, but it was more from an anatomy standpoint. It really wasn't about, it wasn't about morality or who should be involved with. It was actually very science-based, considering it was a theology class. So yeah, it was just shocked. But that's my experience. Obviously, this gentleman, John Frankman, had a very different Catholic upbringing. That's just not the Catholic upbringing that I had.
Or his take of it. I mean,
or his take of it. That's right.
Yeah.
And the environment. I can remember us in the Catholic schools celebrating Earth Day, being taught that the earth is a gift from God, that we should be good stewards of the earth. And I remember our Irish Catholic nun who talked about never leaving rubbish. She used to call it rubbish on the
who calls
street.
It that anymore?
Right. Yeah. Don't leave your rubbish on the street because the planet is a gift from God. So there was really a religious basis for why we should be environmentalists. Now, obviously she was not being political in that moment. It was just, from a religious standpoint of how the planet is a gift and that we should treat it as such. But to be a Catholic and call environmental policy as woke liberalism, I'm like, that's the most conservative religious thing that I learned, was being a good steward of the planet.
Yeah. Well, seems like caring about people is woke too. So.
All right. We're still in Santa Rosa County. Let's see. We talked about Duck Chico. There was a race you wanted me to look up.
Yes.
Oh, you wanted me to look up the Holly Navarre.
Yeah, fire department, whether it was approved.
Let's see.
For the race. I think it ended up being $60-something a household.
Where is it? Am I there yet? Linda Sanborn won her race. That's exciting. Oh man. Look at Carol Boston and Kyle Connolly. That was close.
Ooh.
That's
Sorry,
really
I gotta put my
close.
glasses on to look.
Actually, I gotta put my glasses on too. It's getting late.
Oh, we're at that age.
We're at that age. Okay. Marie Lachlan won her school board race. Oh no, Scott Peden's out. Okay. Oh, here it is. Holly Navarre. Yes.
Oh. Woohoo!
The yes has won. Uh-oh.
And is that a final? How many?
It's not certified yet.
But how many of the votes are in? Does it say?
It says 6 of 6 precincts reporting. So I guess that is the final count. They technically, I think they technically have a week to officially certify. But if all precincts are reporting, then yeah, those are the final results. And that is
they
a yes.
worked really hard. I hit 2 polling places on my way home from Milton today. One by the high school in Navarre, and the other one over on 98. And they had firemen out there. There were tons of supporters out there. So they've worked hard, but they deserve it. It's
There is a question in the chat for you, actually.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, it says, "Hi, Ingrid. Can you tell us more about your experience with the EPA?"
Oh, sure. Well, I had started off my career doing industrial hygiene work right out of college. And then I actually ended up going into the EPA after I was already in the workforce, which I was told back then that most people go into EPA first after college, not after they've been working in the field or in business first. So that was a kind of a unique thing that I was told I did. But I worked in the air division. I did asbestos NESHAP work. Then I worked in the water division. I was an enforcement officer, so I carried a badge and I went around and did inspections, federal inspections. So I I had federal vehicles that I would use to go out and do those inspections. I would work with the Office of Regional Counsel and actually pursue those cases with our team of attorneys and got those settlements. So I did a wide variety of that. I also worked in the groundwater protection branch, so I was an inspector for state programs. And my program area was, since this was when I lived up in the Chicago area, this was specifically Ohio that I was the groundwater protection branch lead for rating and evaluating their drinking water programs. So, but a big part of my job too was I promulgated a lot of the regulations because, of course, when things become law, they're not ready to go. They have to go through a whole process of being turned into the code of regulations so that they can be enforceable, and they have to go through a public comment period, and all those public comments have to be assessed and answered and published so that people know that their concerns have been met. And that's often a multi-month to years process. So I was really involved in what they say, making the sausage, taking law and making it into enforceable rules. So yeah, that was a great learning experience. While I was there too, I became the federal women's program manager. And then there's a group of different agencies that all have federal women's programs, different, not just EPA, but USDA and other agencies. And so there was a federal executive board that I was able to sit on as well and meet representatives from other agencies as well in establishing, programs and helping with women, because I'm a microbiologist. So recruiting women into STEM and getting more engineers and scientists hired to do the important work that we were doing. So
I'm scrolling through questions.
So I was there for 10 years in the Chicago
years.
District, Region 5.
Wow. So I think this is what's striking to me, because you're in the enforcement space. So you're taking the law and making sure, or at least auditing systems to ensure that, number one, they're in compliance. Number two, that the compliance is actually serving the need. And so I think this is so essential, and what makes you uniquely and overly qualified is because you have not been a lawmaker, but you know the space of how the laws impact on the ground. And so that sort of makes you uniquely qualified, because you're like, I have an idea of what the words of legislation tangibly mean to the communities in which they were written for. And so that gives you a little bit of guidance on, okay, I know that if I write this bill, this is how this is going to be enforced. So it encourages you to write smart bills, right?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of emotional intelligence required in writing a good bill that covers all the things that you need it to cover. And there's a lot of listening, because it has to go through committee a few times. And so it doesn't always come out at the end the way that it started, which is good. That's what, good legislation does. It takes into account factors that may not have been considered at the start of that process. So it's all set up that way for a reason, because we, the people, we have to make sure that these laws are good for all of us. Right. And that everyone's considerations are taken into account.
Right. And let's see, you have another question.
Yeah, and then after EPA, I worked for a regional body of government for a while. I was executive director of that. So we were doing on-the-ground construction, in-water construction projects on a giant scale, 26-acre recreation of islands in the middle of a lake. Using reclaimed dredged materials. So that was some of the stuff that I did there. I was there for 14 years. And then the place that I retired from, we were an international nonprofit that represented different professions, state hazard mitigation officers, floodplain managers. We worked with all the federal agencies. And so I was actually in DC quarterly, if not monthly, on the Hill, trying to push a lot of our, we were in the flooding space, so a lot of insurance type issues that we were trying to work with FEMA on and get legislation on. So I was there quite a bit. I was deputy director there, and our executive director would testify. And so we often would have to all weigh in on the testimony, because of course the testimony has to be written and then filed before you actually sit in front of that committee, whatever committee you're sitting in front of,
Right.
to read it off and to be questioned on it. So that was an exciting time. I mean, that was to be on the Hill like that, and to be in those sessions, and to have had a hand in helping to write what you were trying to persuade senators and representatives on was quite an education. So yeah, I've I do have a lot of experience, but I think that's what I feel is my biggest contribution as a candidate, because I don't chase butterflies anymore. I'm pretty keep your eye on the ball kind of gal. Let's figure out what the problem is. Let's figure out what the potential solutions are. That's the scientist in me. Let's test that a little bit. Let's run it past, different people, and then let's get it done.
Yeah. And there's a sea change where people are actually looking for serious actors. I feel like, I think they're done playing the games, and they're really looking for people who are serious about getting in, doing the work, who are not career politicians, who are actually, make expertise great again.
Make intelligence come back
right?
again.
Mega, make expertise and intelligence great again, right?
I'm all for that.
Because we were trying so hard. I don't know if you're familiar. Lachlan Lake will be in the district that you will soon represent, and there was a restorative project that people have been fighting to get funding for, forever. Mostly Republicans, fighting to get restoration of that lake up in the central and northern parts of the county. And I saw a bill that was passed by, at the time, State Senator Broxson, who advocated for funding, and he was able. But when you actually looked at the substance of the bill, the fine print, that funding was from Joe Biden's infrastructure bill. That's how he got the funding. So he took credit for a bill that our congressman at the time, Matt Gaetz, voted against. Luckily, the Democrats had the majority, so his no vote didn't impact passage of the bill. But yeah, State Senator Broxson, a Republican, actually used Joe Biden's infrastructure bill and the money allocated to our region to fund the restoration of Lake Lachlan in Santa Rosa County. Google it. So Democrats care about this area too, and by registration, Democrats are outnumbered by Republicans. That's not something that deters us. It's not something that we fear. It's just a fact, and it's an acknowledgement, but it doesn't mean that we don't care just as much about solutions to make the county that we live in, which is a beautiful county, by the way.
Oh my gosh, yes.
To make and to keep it beautiful. Because as you have seen, we have Milton has a Republican mayor. It has all the city council. They're all Republicans. All the county commissioners are Republican. Our state senator is a Republican. Our state representative is currently a Republican. Both districts. Gulf Breeze mayor is a Republican. All the city council members there, I think it's nonpartisan races, but they're still all Republican. Our congressman's a Republican. The 2 U.S. state senators are Republican. The governor is a Republican. So you can't blame Democrats for why things are the way they are in Santa Rosa County, right? You can't,
right.
You just can't do it, because Democrats don't hold the wheels of power in this particular county. So if you're not liking the way that things are going, you have an alternative. And Ingrid is a brilliant alternative. I can tell you that the cast of candidates that we have running in this season are phenomenal. It makes my job so much easier as a leader to have Gay and Johnny, who is a Harvard law student, you as an EPA scientist. We've got Lauren, who's also, who's a nurse in healthcare. So she understands the challenges with healthcare. You've got me as the Democratic Party leader, who's a physician. We have a cast of characters, if that's what you want to call us, who are ready and willing to serve you, all of you who are watching, without fear or favor. Your agenda is our agenda. We are going to take your concerns to the bodies that have the control to make a difference. And so,
absolutely,
Ingrid, I'm so happy to have you. I know we probably held you longer than what you had anticipated for.
Yeah, but that's okay.
But it was a great conversation, and hopefully, and we certainly want to have you back on the show.
I would
so
love
that
to.
you can, as we get closer and closer to election season and mobilizing the vote, we certainly want to keep you in the back of our minds. So,
thank you.
And of course,
proud to be running.
Right. All right. So, all right. We'll take care, Ingrid. I'm going to run through some more results with you guys, and then we'll call it a night.
All right. Then I will say good night to you. And
au revoir, fellow Catholic.
Au revoir. All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, I'm going to figure out how I can get another screen with just me on. And then we're going to run through some local races in Santa Rosa County and my thoughts on those races. But in the meantime, I just need to figure out how I'm going to get another screen on. And we will be doing that shortly. Just bear with me for a second. And as soon as I get that together, I will bring myself on the screen. So give me one moment. Ooh, this is a widescreen. Okay. All right, so we're going to run back to the race that we have. Marie Laughlin. Marie Laughlin was a candidate who ran for office. She actually, believe it or not, Marie was the first school board candidate in this particular election cycle that I met. You know, we talked about my Katrina story. She expressed fascination with that story. Not necessarily fascination with the tragedy of it, but just fascination with the grandiosity of it, and she remembered it quite fondly. And so she also attended a Democratic Black Caucus meeting. Now, school board races are nonpartisan races, and so those races you don't have to ascribe to a certain party affiliation. That's basically what a nonpartisan race means. And so Marie needed to get votes from every single voter that she could in Santa Rosa County. The other thing about Santa Rosa County, and with a lot of our races, except for mayor and city council, is that our county commissioner races and our school board races are county-wide races. So people who don't live in school board District 5 still are able to vote in school board District 5. Now, this is purposely done, and I will get to that in a moment. So it was imperative for the candidates to appeal to all voters from every walk of life, from every political persuasion. It was very important for that to happen. And so my first interaction with her was actually at a fish fry fundraiser for the Democratic Black Caucus. And to be honest with you, I was quite impressed with her record. She's a former teacher, retired teacher, or is she still working? I know she's been a teacher for a long time. Not as long as I've been alive, but pretty close to it. And she seemed to have a real grasp of the challenges that teachers face in the classroom. And so that made her uniquely qualified to take the next step to go to the school board, because she is an educator. And I think it's important for educators to be on the school board. I think it's important for parents to be on the school board, educators to be on the school board, former or current education administrators, a good, well-rounded walk of life, and just plain old citizens, whether you have children in public school or not, just a plain old citizen. It's important to have a diversity of thought and of input on the school board, because ultimately when people come together to create ideas to make things better, when you have a diverse opinion, that certainly strengthens the platforms that come out. So Marie Loughlin looks like she has secured the win for School Board District 5. And so we want to congratulate her. Jill Broxton Teston also ran. And I just remember one video of her where she said she looked like a kid. And that she acknowledged that she looked like a kid. And I was, if I'm being honest, because I always keep it honest, I was not thrilled about her candidacy. I certainly don't want to judge, her father, who was the one I was just talking to I was just talking to Ingrid about Doug Broxton, who is Jill Broxton Texan's father. And we were discussing how former state senator Doug Broxton took credit for Joe Biden's infrastructure bill, a bill that Republicans came out against, not only came out against, but voted against, in all honesty. Like, they voted for the funding that State Senator Broxton was taking credit for in terms of repairing and restoring a part of the county that had been environmentally impacted by wastewater dumping, by orange clay that was also dumped into the lake, rubber, tires, all kinds of stuff, right? So he was taking credit for something he had no part in, that was funded by Democrats, not Republicans. So that's the type of political family that she comes from. And I'm sure she is a very, very nice person. I've never had a one-on-one conversation with her. She is a parent of children in public schools. And I would venture to say that her family probably does have financial resources to place them in private schools. So the fact that she chooses to put her kids in public school, I think is definitely commendable. And I certainly appreciate that. That being said, our public schools in Santa Rosa County are great. We have excellent public schools, top-notch public schools. We routinely get A's in our public school ratings. And so it's not far-fetched to want to put kids in public school. So looks like she came in second. Scott Peden, who I believe held the office beforehand. I'll have to double check on that. The name sounds familiar. I think he may have been a school board member before. Clearly, he will not be advancing, as 41 of 41 precincts are now reporting, and he is in a very distant third from Marie Loughlin. So congratulations to Marie Loughlin. Let's go to another race. This is the race where I'm just like, ooh, see, this is why voting is so important. This is what is separating these two candidates. We've got what is that? 213 is 100 votes. 313 is 200 votes. This is like 260 something votes that are separating Carol Boston and Kyle Connolly. As we talk about this race, Carol Boston is the sitting school board member, who is also a very close ally of Dr. Karen Barber, who is the current superintendent of Santa Rosa County School Board. Kyle Connolly is someone who has a very robust online presence in Santa Rosa County and is a parent of kids who are in public school, and really is a firecracker, and had concerns about certain funding related issues. And so she really galvanized a coalition of people who wanted to see her replace Carol Boston in this particular school board race. So again, the entire county voted in this race. And as you can see here, it looks like people could see how it's 29,274 votes. And this one is, let me get my glasses because, you know, I'm at that age as well. It says 28,485. So that means like roughly, what is that? Almost 700 people voted in School Board District 5, but just decided not to vote in School Board District 3. That which could have made the difference if you were a Cal Connolly supporter. Just know that people went to the polls and literally just did not complete their entire ballot. That's the only way, because like I said, these are countywide at-large races. And so the difference in people just not filling out a bubble could have been the difference between who won and who lost in School Board District 3. But it looks like, based on what we're seeing here now, that Kyle Connolly, who is quite a popular figure in online spaces, did not meet the threshold to take out Carol Boston, who has come into a lot of critique. That being said, Carol Boston sent out a mailer really trashing Kyle Connolly, and Kyle Connolly then posted that mailer trashing her on her social media, which I didn't understand from a political communications perspective, because you never want to use your platform, your communications channels in your campaign to elevate your opponent's message, particularly to elevate your opponent's message about you, if your opponent's message about you is negative. And so I didn't really understand the thought process behind putting Carol Boston's mailers on your social media platform. That was a miss, sis. I don't know who was advising you to do that, but it costs money to send mailers, and you basically spread her mailer without any cost to her, because you actually have the greater following on social media than Carol Boston does. And so for you to use your platform to publicize a mailer that she was charging to send to people, and you just sent it out on social media for free, that's just political malpractice, political communications malpractice 101. You never do that. You never use your social media channels or any platform that you possess in order to advocate for, publicize, or spread the message of your opponent. So that's just some unsolicited advice. You know, next time I give this advice, I'm about to charge you. But that's just some unsolicited advice. Let's go to another race. We've got school board race, David Farrow and Linda Sanborn. I'm going to be honest with you. Linda Sanborn is pretty conservative. But Linda Sanborn realizes, I think, that now that she has won re-election, I think she really does understand that her role is to advocate for all children, no matter what. And she may have conservative values. She may have values that are completely diametrically opposite of the values that I have. But at the end of the day, those conservative values are just hers, and they don't belong in the classroom or on the school board. At the end of the day, she's got to, y'all got to have a budget. Teachers got to get paid. Administrators have to get paid. School funding, all of that goes by the wayside. How you feel about particular moral issues or social issues, all of that goes out of the window when you have to comply to a budget, right? So Linda Sanborn, believe it or not, is actually also the only candidate who ran for school board who knocked on my door. Fun fact. So if you just want to know, I'm as Democrat as they come. And even that being said, for some reason, Linda Sanborn thought it pertinent to knock on my door. Now, I wasn't home. But I know she knocked. So Linda Sanborn has defeated David Farrow. And while I really did think, I'm looking at the results now, I thought that she would carry this much more than what she did, which shows that there is an anti-incumbency type of thing going on, even in Santa Rosa County amongst conservatives, because I think given who she was running against, Mrs. Sanborn should have taken this. She should have had like a Marie Loughlin lead. And right now it looks like, she's only not even 10 points. So that's that school board race. Let's get to any other local races that we need to talk about. Where's the county commissioner races? Where are they? Board of County Commissioners, okay. Oh no. I'm shocked. What? Stop it. Don't tell me Ray Eddington has lost. Ray Eddington, let me tell you something about Ray Eddington. Y'all just getting all of the tea tonight. Ray Eddington is also a MAGA, ultra-conservative Republican. That being said, Ray Eddington was like when that fool, Lord, what's his name? Calkins. When that peanut brain was on the county commission, he had disparaging remarks, was very, very disrespectful to voters in this county if they were not only if they were not, he certainly didn't have respect for independents. He definitely despised Democrats, but he didn't even have a considerable amount of respect for people in his own party unless you were a loony nut job like he was. So when they got his tail out and voted him out, Ray Eddington was one of the ones who at one time said, I have policy disagreements with Democrats. I am as MAGA Republican as they come. I'm a Donald Trump supporter, but the things that you use your platform to say about Democrats, I can't get behind that. And that is just out of the box. And so Ray Eddington, in all honesty, I voted for Ray Eddington because while we may have policy differences, I know that the man means well. I know that he is not bought and paid for. At least that's the sense that I got from listening to him. And so I thought he deserved a second term, which is probably why he lost, because he was appealing to a Democrat like me, which is probably why y'all voted him out of office. Because, anybody that makes some damn sense, y'all don't want to keep him. Y'all want the crazies. So Dean Light, I'm just be honest with you, I don't know much about him. I didn't really see much about him. He certainly did not reach out to any of the Democrats. That being said, neither did Ray. This was a race that did not have a write-in candidate, so it was an open primary. And so usually when you have those ghost candidates, they close off the election to independents, no party voters, and Democrats. This particular race did not have a write-in ghost candidate, and so anybody could vote for them. And so I'm going to be honest with you. This was a huge political failure because there were Democrats reaching out to me, asking me who they should vote for in this particular election. And just think, if one of these candidates had at least reached out to the leader of the Democratic Party, which I'm not here, I'm here in my personal capacity, but I do hold multiple roles. None of these candidates even reached out to a party that has over 20,000 registered voters. None of them reached out to the party who also has access to the 30,000 no party affiliated voters. They basically just campaigned in their own silos. And now here we are with the results. I can guarantee you if Ray Eddington had at least maybe reached out and popped in and made a visit to the Santa Rosa County Democratic Party meetings to let the Democrats know how he plans to deliver on behalf of all constituents, he probably would have won. Let's go to another race. Well, this is really split. Okay, so let me get my glasses here. This is County Commissioner District 2. This district actually did have a ghost write-in candidate, so it was closed off. I was not able to vote in this election, but I will tell you that Jeff 8 signs were everywhere. So clearly there was one person, I don't know how much money he raised, but there were clearly a lot of money behind that campaign, because you couldn't drive 2 seconds without either a Jeff Snow sign or a Jeff 8 sign. One thing I did see is a lot of fire Kerry signs. You know, part of the constituency has to really hate you for people to pay for a website called firekerry.com and then print signs that say firekerry.com, because printing signs, paying for a website, those things are not cheap. And then you have to have a workforce or a volunteer force who is out there pushing that movement. Kerry Smith is the current Board of County Commissioner, and he did not win this race. Now, I don't know if they're going to go to a runoff or not. I don't think we do runoffs. So, yeah, Kerry Smith has officially lost his seat. And it is no surprise, because a lot of the critique of Kerry Smith was that he was bought and paid for by the developers in Santa Rosa County. And the developers are basically people who build homes that actually, when you look at the median price of those homes, they ain't that affordable. So not only are they messing with the environment, but they're also building homes that are quite expensive. And then they take all the profits and they bounce. They bounce state. Either they leave the county and go to another part of the state, or they leave the state itself. Those jobs go as well. And sometimes, in certain instances, they're not even hiring a local labor workforce. And so it's kind of like why are we just giving away large swaths of our marshland, of our forests, to these developers who have no care or concern about the environmental impact that Santa Rosa County will face as a result of the runoff, as a result of building in flood zones, or building in flood zones but not putting in the proper infrastructure to combat that you just purchased your home in a marsh, right? So Kerry Smith sort of developed a reputation of being in the pockets of the developers, and it was just a reputation that, as much as he denied, he could not overcome, because in most cases, perception is reality, unless you're willing to invest the time and the effort in order to dispel those rumors. But it looks like Jeff 8 will be taking over Kerry Smith's race. And I don't know a damn thing about Jeff 8, to be honest. I don't know nothing about him. And it's just going to have to be what it is. He's not in my district, and I couldn't vote for him. See, if y'all would have gotten rid of that ghost write-in candidate, this race could have been open to all voters and not just Republican voters. And there's a possibility that these numbers could have shifted. But yeah, what did Derek say before he left? Something about success. You can't get to success playing dirty, something to that effect. This was dirty, and y'all didn't care. So there you go. All right, let's go to the next race. John Fay and Trey McMullen. You know, here's another race where I am shocked. I mean, I am truly shocked, because I don't agree with much Trey was saying. Trey was an African-American gentleman who was running as a Republican in this race. And while I didn't agree with him on much policy, he at least was not crazy. He was what I would call a normal Republican who, while we may have policy differences in the realm of how we approach certain issues, he did not outright deny that the issues existed. There's a faction of the party in Republican circles where there is a complete denial that things even exist, that facts are no longer even real, that the science is not real. And so Trey was someone who, whether you agree with him or disagree with him about his solutions to the problems, he was not in denial about the problems. But this is the Republican Party that we're dealing with right now. They're all a bunch of lunatics. They're crazy. They are nuts, because John Fay, number one, didn't show up to a lot of forums. So you all are willing to put in, and this is not close, this is a 50-point spread. You all voted for a guy by 50 points, a man who didn't even have the courtesy to show up to forums and ask you for his vote. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. MAGA, we control everything. Socialists don't control. Oh, I ain't gonna say that word. Oh, I can say it. Socialists don't control dick. Do they control yours? Oh! See, y'all gonna get me in trouble. Y'all gonna get me in trouble. Because, see, I don't mind MAGA people being in the mentions. I really don't. But you can come for me if you want. I'm going to come back. I'm not one of let's make this known right now. I'm not one of those respectability politics type of people. I will call you out and I'll talk about your mama. So we can have a conversation all you want. If you want to be in this chat using expletives and talking about stuff, just know I will talk about your mama live on air. I'm not one of those. So keep playing. So let's get back to John Fay and Trey McMullen. I was taken aback that people would vote for him, and for someone who did not even have the courtesy of showing up, giving his platform positions, talking about what he plans to do for the district that he wants to represent, and people would still vote for him. This that y'all did that man dirty. Y'all wrong for that. Y'all are wrong for that. So apparently John Fay has the backing of the Republican institutions and the Republican establishment. Trey McMullen does not have the support of the Republican establishment. Trey McMullen is black. That's all I need to say about that. He was already fighting an uphill battle, whether he wanted to acknowledge it or not, whether he wanted to realize it or not. There are just factions within the Republican Party who are not going to vote for a candidate who is black. Not in this area. I said it. If you disagree with me, put it in the chat. I'll be more than happy to entertain or debate it. But I'm just telling you what I've heard and what I know. They ain't supporting no brother. So that's that. You guys have any questions about that race, just let me know. Let's go to another race. Republican for Commissioner of Agriculture. Looks like Wilton Simpson. Let me grab my glasses because I can't see. Wilton Simpson. I don't even know who that is. Nikki Fried used to be, who is the chair of the Florida Democratic Party currently, who was supposed to join us tonight, but she says she's tied up with all the victories and she's not able to join us tonight. But she used to hold the Commissioner of Agriculture position. Chief Financial Officer. Ooh, this is close. Oh, man. Blaze, who's the current CFO, looks like he trailed. Now, I don't know if he won or not. I'll have to go to another screen to see if he won. But the majority of Santa Rosa County voters did not vote for Blaze. Let's see. Who else? Who is this? This is governor and lieutenant governor. Looks like Byron Donalds, which Derek always said that he did not believe that Republicans were going to that Republicans in the Panhandle were going to support Byron Donalds in the numbers that they may support him in other parts of the state. And this is an idea of that. Jay Collins is a nut. Absolute nut. This is the man who took off his legs at a press conference because he's got prosthetic legs from a military-related injury. And so he's a disabled vet. Thank you for your service. But he took one of them legs off during a press conference as a stunt. And so, totally unserious person, somebody who really doesn't fundamentally understand anything about how to lead a state that has the seventh largest economy in the world. And so, yeah, so he still did not get more votes than Byron Donalds. That being said, he got a considerable part of the vote, considering Byron Donalds got 9,700 votes and Jay Collins got 30% of the vote. So what is that, like a 10 point spread? So yeah, this is not a done deal, and I'll go to another screen to get the results for the statewide. We talked about this race already. Doug Chico, Jimmy Patronis, who also obviously endorsed John Fay, two candidates who don't show up for forums and debates within their own party, let alone forums and debates that involve other candidates. So birds of a feather flock together, I guess. The next, what is this? U.S. Senator Ashley Moody, clearly someone who never came to Santa Rosa County, by the way, to ask for our votes, and she has taken it with 75% of the vote. And Ashley Moody is the projected winner. That's already been called. So let's go to, I'm going to pull up another screen. I'll see if I can find it. Let's see. Let's go to some congressional races, because I wanted to see if, oh no, Chevron, they're saying Chevron didn't win. Ugh, I don't even know who this Gilbert guy is, but that could totally be because I'm not from the Miami area. But I was really hoping Chev would win this race. Ugh, that sucks. Man, I was also really rooting for Oliver Larkin in 25. I thought Elijah Manning, although he was young and people said that he was inexperienced, I really thought that, you know, he was a good candidate. He meant well. He had his pulse on what the people are really fighting for. And so it really sucks that Elijah didn't cross the finish line in that race. Oh no, Tamika. I really wanted Tamika Lyles to win. Oh, I love Tamika Lyles. That's my heart. She is definitely the heart of the Democratic Party in Central Florida, and it really does hurt my heart that she has not been called the projected winner of her district race. We talked about Kathy Castor running uncontested. She's representing the Tampa district. That's one of the districts that's been redistricted to favor Republicans once they were given the go-ahead in a Calais decision that political gerrymandering was okay, even though they're doing a lot of racial gerrymandering as well. Maxwell Frost is going to advance. Jennifer Jenkins is going to advance, and she'll be running against, I think it's Randy Fine, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check that. Let's see if District 2 has been called. District 2 is still saying too early to call. Let's see. Let's refresh and see if that changes. No, they're still saying too early to call. I like Yin. Never met her, but Yin Bailey, she is a candidate whom so I've heard a lot about, and I really actually do like her. And she's running on a platform that I think working people can get behind. LJ Holloway, who I met before as well, she's a great candidate. So let's see, where were we? Jimmy Patronis has won at 71% of the vote. I don't know how y'all put that fool back in office, Lord. Let's see who's running on the Republican side. Randy Fine did win his race. You want to talk about an Islamophobe, allegedly. Yeah, that's him. Is that Corey Mills' district? Did Corey Mills lose his? Looks like Corey Mills, who's a sitting congressman, lost his race, if that's him. And Anna Paulina Luna, who sometimes acts like she needs to be on Luna. She ran uncontested. What else do we have here? Anything interesting? Anything Brian Mast? He ran uncontested. He's a sitting congressman. Mario Diaz-Balart, who is Jose Diaz-Balart's brother. He ran. Carlos Jimenez ran uncontested. Phil Ayer will be facing Carlos Jimenez, the sitting congressman. And then Maria Salazar. Now, Maria Salazar, y'all. That woman talk out of both sides of her mouth so much. I don't know how y'all put that lady back in office. Because she will literally, she'll get on television and pretend like she's advocating for the Cuban population, that she's advocating for Venezuelan people. And then she will go and vote for the very policies that hurt Cuban communities, that hurt Venezuelan immigrant communities. She will literally put people in place and advocate for policies that hurt the literal constituencies that she represents, but then she'll get on television and do this woe is me type of thing. Y'all, she is such an unserious person. I got a lot of names I could call her, but I don't want to get down in the dirt. Just know that she is unserious. And yet, here she is with 81% of the vote. So there you go. I am going to wrap this up, actually, because we've been on for almost... we've been on for almost how long? 3 hours. Yeah, it's time to wrap this up. All right, people. So give our podcast a like, a subscribe, a follow. If you want to donate, you can find us on Cash App, Venmo. You can make donations to the show. That way we can bring you more content. And long form content like we did today. We usually have an hour-long show that's pretty scripted. This was very unscripted. We just went on until we couldn't go on anymore. We really wanted to go on until all the major races were decided. And it looks like all those major races have been decided. So as we approach 9 o'clock, we're going to sign off and leave your comments in the chat. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you listen on all of our platforms, including Spotify, including Apple Podcasts. We're also on Substack. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on all the socials. So please make sure that you follow us and give our platform a like and subscribe to feed that algorithm. And I will bid you farewell. Thanks to everyone who joined us tonight, including Ingrid, Johnny Austin Thompson, who's running for House District 2, Jamil Hill, Jamil Davis, as well as Gay and Derek, and our regular Sunshine couldn't be with us today. And we had some people who were possibly, somebody said, when is this broadcast ending? We're ending now. We're ending now. All right, guys, take care. Goodbye.